It's him, Marcus. You may all know
Hey
him
everybody.
as DE Marcus, aka what's another nickname you have?
Marcus.
Well, we already said
Marcus. I used to actually go by Narkbag for quite a while, and then I
Narkbag,
graduated
Narkbag.
out. Yeah, that was back in the
So,
early days.
This is my homeboy, DJ Narkbag. Alright?
Yep. What's up?
DJ.
Represent.
Oh my god, that's amazing. What a nickname.
Guys, let's give a warm welcome to Marcus. It was amazing that he took the time to come here. We all know Marcus from the DE streams, generally being behind the curtain. And the guy that I've spoken to literally at least once a month for the last year and a half, and I've never spoken to him vocally.
In person. No, it's always been text message.
And we live an hour and a half away.
We do.
And that's the fucking weirdness of the internet.
It is.
That's right there.
And now we're here face to face.
I know. It's Layla, you were saying that yesterday. That's like the first time we'll officially kind of meet. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I've already known you guys for so long because I feel like we chat so frequently. So this is cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's such a weird experience. We were commenting on that yesterday. I'm like, I know you, but yet I don't. It's so weird.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Also, I see a lot of familiar I guess faces in chat, but everybody, good to see you.
Again, the internet, right? Faces in chat.
Faces in chat.
It's just how it goes.
Before we get rolling, I just wanted to say you have been doing the streams as of late, and I wanted to commend you. You've done an incredible job. You've done a really, really good job to step up in front of that many people and have the confidence and control of it that you do, man.
Yeah.
So kudos to that. That was a job well done, I would say. I tipped my hat while watching you stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. That's really kind of you. I was kind of joking with I chat with Helen about it a lot, but I guess it's a huge difference starting streaming from home compared to streaming in the studio, because usually in the studio, you have someone who can run the AV and the transitions and stuff like that. So if you're hosting, you kind of stay more focused on chat and everything like that. So it gave me a lot more appreciation for every streamer who has to do everything themselves, because there's just so much to stay on top of. And Twitch chat, it just goes so quickly. So
it does. It
does.
does.
No, I really
it's an
appreciate
art.
that, Doc.
And it's amazing because you see, like, we're slowly doing it because we're like the edge of boomers, but you'll see a lot of people develop their stream and it turns into this massive production. And now you have an idea as to like what goes, like it's a play essentially. You're doing like a live show essentially every single day. And I don't think a lot of people do realize what goes into a production of a stream. So thanks for that too.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nuts, but it's been a ton of fun. Like it's amazing how much you kind of have to think on the fly, and I think I'm really just I'll sometimes listen back to the streams. I'm trying not to as much, and I'm trying to stay on the same thought process, because sometimes I'll get a question in chat and I've rewatched streams and I'm like, oh, you're curious about Nightwave, and then I just get lost on a whole other tangent, and then I never answer the question, and then this person's like, oh, you never answered my question. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just got distracted.
Forgot.
And the rest of the chat's like, peace out, Marcus. See you later, bud.
Yeah, he's gone on his own tangent now.
He's out.
Yeah, but like he's gone forever. He's never coming back.
I feel that so hard. So many times I'm in a conversation with somebody and then I'll get distracted and then I'll come back and that person's like, yo, remember the conversation we were having? And I'm like, no, I don't.
Either that or somebody will be like, so anyway, about a subject, and you'll be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, babe, somebody literally just told
talked
us that
about
half an hour ago.
I can't. It's too much information going through your head. I can only imagine.
It's true.
With that.
Yeah, and I think too, like, my conversation skills have definitely become a lot worse now that I just haven't been talking face to face with people as much.
Yeah.
So it's almost like trying to relearn how to have a conversation with people. So no, the streams have been a great time. It's been a ton of fun.
Oh, amazing. Good. Oh, good. When did you officially start going on live regularly?
It was, I think my first stream was in October. Yeah, that was the first stream, and then it's been semi-regularly since then. So yeah, so there's been a couple periods longer, and then a couple times where I've streamed back-to-back weeks. So I'd say since 2021, it's been the most like kind of consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, since October. So it's been fun. Like it's really cool. Just working within Digital Extremes and being a part of the creator program as well. I've seen so many streams So it's almost like kind of feels like Karate Kid, where like, you watch all the streams, you engage with the streams,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
run like the AV for the streams, and it's kind of like, okay, time to do it. And then, you kind of have this moment of like, oh, I sort of have an idea of how this goes because I've just been
Yeah.
around it so much. So I've had lots of great people to learn from in the partner program and then creator program. So it's kind
Yeah.
of a nice, like, got to do my learning, got to do my,
Mhm.
like required reading, and now,
Mhm.
now I can stream.
That's so
Absolutely.
awesome. Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks.
And you have an incredible team around you also to be there
Oh,
for you.
they're the
Like,
best.
they're just
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Hmm. Oh yeah, so supportive. Yeah, like Megan helped me set up all my overlays. Dean's always there for any tech issues we have. Everybody's got such such a different style, but still kind of has that same digital extremes community team feel. So
Mhm.
yeah, really lucky to be a part of this team. And even before I started, like I jumped on mic a few times with Reb, and like she's such a pro, so it's always really cool to work with her. And it's just so natural for her. It's great.
Do you feel like it was more difficult to transition like into a streaming role when you were alone at home versus having like a studio support,
Yeah.
like everybody else has had when they got started?
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I was only around for a few people when they kind of got their start. Like I was sort of there for Helen to start streaming
Mhm.
and for Taylor to start streaming. So I saw them kind of be gradually introduced to that sort of setup. So yeah, it's a lot different because I think I would say, and either Doc or Layla, you brought up the whole kind of like stage and production aspect of things.
Mhm.
When you step into kind of the stream room we have at the office, you kind of feel the energy. Like it's a whole professional setup. We have the lights, we got the couch. It's like, oh, this is where the dev streams happen.
Yeah.
This is where the guys sit. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So kind of going from like knowing that setup and kind of having that feel to like my spare room where I keep my books,
Yeah.
where it's just kind
Yeah.
of like hot and smelling, and it's like, all right, we're gonna broadcast from here now. So
Yeah.
You gotta
I actually
like
did a whole
hype yourself up and like get your cats to hype you. Well, that's what we
Yeah.
do. We like talk to our cats. We're
Yeah.
like, we're gonna have an awesome stream
Yeah.
today.
Hype me
yeah,
up,
it's
cat.
gonna be great. Come on, guys, don't
Yeah.
you know what's going on? We got
Yeah.
a stream going on this
And they're
afternoon.
like sleeping. They're like, oh.
Yeah, and they're like, listen, are you gonna pet me or are you gonna not? Because
Yeah.
that's really those are my only two speeds.
One
So
thing
yeah,
too
so I
is-
really had to like clean up a ton of stuff. But
Yeah.
what were you saying, Doc?
Well, I was just saying one thing too is you'll notice if you're playing the game or you're in the game, you've got your headphones on. The second, as a streamer, you take your headphones out, it ruins all immersion.
Mhm.
You're like, oh yeah,
Mm.
I'm the
I
only
know.
person here, and it's quiet as hell in my
I
house.
know. I have
So
to have
it's
that
the
music
weirdest-
on
yeah.
and the game noise just to like feel like I'm part of the stream.
Yeah,
or else I,
otherwise
like,
you have no energy. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you drawing from
Mhm.
at
it's just
that
like
point? Yeah.
silence. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You have to really stay just kind of like keyed in and focused.
Yeah.
And I find as well, like, it's amazing how there's that kind of like post stream lull where you sort of get out of the stream and it's almost like kind of like when you finish a really great movie and it's sort of like, oh right, there's things going on around me and there's
Yeah.
kind of stuff happening. Like you
Mhm.
just get into that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And I can see how, like I think streamed a max like hour and 12 minutes. So for people that go for hours and hours and hours, like I absolutely commend you. Cause coming out of that, it's like getting back to reality,
Yeah.
right? Like you just dial in so much.
It's
Yeah.
it's true.
It was the cause of many unnecessary arguments
Ew,
early
yeah.
on when we started
When we
doing
started,
it.
yeah.
Because we would just start picking at each other for no reason. And we'd be like,
So tired after too,
Yeah.
where you're just like, I've got like all of my energy has been zapped out of me.
and then an hour later, we're like, what were we even?
Like, what was the
Arguing
problem there?
about.
Yeah. Yeah. You like
Yeah, I know
have
what
a
you
drink,
mean.
eat
Yeah.
some food, and then you're like, okay, all right, blood pressure back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally it's drinking water and it's eating food because you get tired and you get a little hungry and you get a
Yeah.
little cranky. I know that absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just about to mention something. I totally forget. I'm sure it'll come back to me at some point.
Don't be afraid to tell
I
me
know
to
what I was
shut
gonna
up.
say. The difference of what time in the day you stream. So now I've kind of had a bit of the difference of like, streaming at 4 o'clock compared to streaming at 10 o'clock. And like for me, like after streaming, I'm just like wiped. Like I do not have I don't know, I guess it would almost be similar to like a runner where like if you really work up to those kind of like exercises or if you really get used to streaming, then after you can kind of still have stamina to finish your workday.
Yes.
But like props to Taylor and Helen for streaming at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays because trying to then do like another 5 or 6 hours of work after,
Work.
oof,
Yeah.
Like that is tough. That is really tough.
I can only imagine how
Well,
difficult
it's
that
what
would
we
be.
run into.
It's
We
true.
start at 10, we end at 2 or 3,
And
and
then
then
we're
from
like-
3 on, we're like, we know we have another 3 hours of work,
I do not want to.
but we're like, oh my god, I gotta sit at my computer longer?
That's why I love the
Yeah.
summer, because we use the excuse that we have to get out and exercise after stream.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's it.
Mm.
If I don't need to work, I gotta go bike riding. It's fine.
Yeah. You got to get out into the world because like
Yeah.
I find as well when you're on the stream you're so focused as to, how your face looks and how you're sort of reacting. You're so
Mm-hmm.
aware. So at least like hopefully for your work you maybe don't have to be on camera and then you can at least kind of like okay,
Yeah.
like
Chill out,
sort of
yeah.
like settle after.
Yeah.
Um
Pick your nose.
because that
and
was
stuff.
exactly. I think one of the biggest shifts for myself as well is like I'm unconsciously quite expressive.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like I'm sure Helen and Taylor can attest to this, when I'd be running the computer at work, I'm reading comments and reading chat, and sometimes there's a question and maybe it's not clear, and so I'll kind of like just have lots of reactions to it. And streaming for the first time, I was like, oh, I really can't react to people in the same way
Yeah.
Oh, but if
that I
you
would
did it-
usually. You got to be
oh.
so aware of
It's so
of what your face
difficult,
looks
that
like.
transition.
But that would be like if you did your own stream though, that would be an incredible selling feature.
would.
Look at the fucking face this guy's making.
Yeah, like, I know how he really feels
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So no, I would say that's an asset, but I can
is.
see, yeah,
Not
how
when
it
it's
would,
your
Yeah.
job for Warframe.
yeah, you can't be like
just
totally
like
honest.
just
Be
kind of
like,
going and being like, listen, I don't know what you're saying, but just try to rephrase. I have no idea. Sometimes I'll just
Yeah.
kind of like, and I'm like, oh no, can't read that, and then
No,
just sort of go back to it.
gotta
But,
skip that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
would, you would
but
be
I'll-
like a horrible teacher. Like if you had to grade my paper in front of me, you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, and
Yeah.
you'd be reading it in your head, and you'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
someone right at the end of the stream just said, "So long, Scruffy man," and it cracked me up. It cracked me up to no end. So it's like, I wonder if they know my name, but it's just so long,
Yeah.
Scruffy man.
Scruffy
I
man.
like that.
Perfect.
New nickname.
That's the new
That should have
nickname.
came up at the beginning of the interview.
Add to the list.
Next stream should be Warframe with Scruffy Man. That
Yeah.
should be the
Yeah,
title of her.
return of the Scruff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DE Scruff Man.
Scruffy frame.
Perfect. That's amazing. I actually, while we're on the topic of your new life as a streamer, I wanted to ask, what are some of your like biggest obstacles or the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome as like transitioning into that role, and then also like what's your biggest joy transitioning into that role?
Wow, those are great questions. As far as biggest obstacle, it would probably be doing my best to stay focused and doing my best to convey things in a calm and collected manner.
Yeah.
I can get very excited. I like telling stories. I like getting animated, but I'll tell stories that are too long, or I don't bring it back to center, or I'll forget things. So just trying to stay focused.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was endlessly distracted. I was always running after things, and that's really translated into my adult life as much as I've tried to stay focused. So I think just staying on topic and being able to answer one question and then move on to the next subject has probably been my biggest challenge, as well as I would say not being able to be around my coworkers in the same way, because I think one of my favorite things about being able to do the audio for streams was hanging out with Taylor in like the 20 minutes before the stream goes live.
Yeah.
And you just sort of put on some music, just kind of get relaxed, have your coffee, sort of chat, get things set up. It's just like a sort of a nice like almost kind of like a warm-up routine. You just really get to see how they're doing, they kind of see how you're doing, and just sort of get set. So doing that on your own, it's a bit of a different kind of like, it's just harder to do, I guess, by yourself.
It is.
It is, yeah.
So that's probably one of the harder kind of like just things to sort of prep for the stream. I've definitely gotten more over the stream jitters.
Yeah.
I was in a lot of plays and musicals growing up in high school. I loved being in productions. So it's similar to that feeling, but it's totally different because you head into a play or musical, everything's set out. Your cues are there, your lines,
your
the
lines.
actors.
Yep.
Whereas when you go to a stream, things might crash.
when they do,
you might lose squad mates. You might fail your mission. So you sort of just have to take what's thrown at you. But once you're kind of in the thick of it, then you're like, oh, we're off and rolling. We're riding a bike.
Yeah.
The most rewarding thing I would say has probably been Probably connecting with the Warframe community in a way I haven't been able to. Like, it's
Yeah.
really cool being able to chat with people in Twitch chat, but being able to talk to them as a part of Twitch chat and sort of run the stream as well has been really cool. It's nice to just have an hour where, I'm talking and hanging out with people in a way that I don't usually get to. So it's a really cool way to sort of get a sample serving of the community. What are people wondering about? What are people asking about? And then just obviously the colorful commentary from the community.
Oh
So
yeah.
being able to engage with the community in that kind of way has been really, really cool. And I just enjoy, just chatting with people and getting their questions and doing things exactly like this.
Yeah.
I find it a ton of fun. So it's been really rewarding.
It's true. That's like it's one of the best parts, I think, of your job over there, is that you guys get to constantly be interacting with this phenomenal community.
Yeah.
It must keep you so
Absolutely.
motivated, and like it keeps your energy up because they're so energetic about what you're producing.
Yeah, there's nothing better than working hard on something behind the scenes, or getting ready for Tennocon, and then maybe logging onto Twitter or seeing a comment on the forums of someone just saying like, "Hey, this is so great,"
Yeah.
keep working hard, or "Oh, I'm so excited for this." Like it really does. It's nice to get that kind of positive feedback.
Yeah.
So yeah, the streams are like that, but in like a straight dose, a straight shot.
Yeah, it is.
So-
It is a straight shot.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
Lego.
no, but no, they're a blast. They're an absolute blast.
Oh, good. I'm glad. That's awesome. That's so exciting. It's awesome that you are, like Adam said, you're one of the faces of Warframe now. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I'm glad I shaved my beard before that before that happened, or else that would have been a bit of a scarier introduction. So
I wish you hadn't. Gotta stay true.
Yeah. Stay tuned. with that
it
beard.
was it was
it-
rough.
Unruly COVID beard.
Yeah, it got pretty bad. I think it was because my whole goal was I was like, oh, I'll shave once we go back to the office. But
Mhm.
then that kind of kept getting further and further along. And then I was like, okay, this may be a year and a half with this beard. And the tough thing is that it wasn't fully filled in, like it
Mhm.
wasn't a regular beard. It kind of turned into more of a chin beard,
Mhm.
which didn't look that great. And I started to get like a face mask kind of indent on it. And it was about time to shave it. However, the one thing I will say that was really funny about having a beard that I didn't realize. Oh, Helen, that beard is incredible. You should be proud. Thanks, Helen. I also
Hey,
Dylan,
Helen.
Helen's fiance, grew out a beard as well. So we had a picture at like the eight month mark or something like that. And we've got these huge
Of your
beards.
big beards. Oh,
beard off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay to see that picture. That's amazing.
But yeah, the funny thing that I didn't realize with growing a beard is that I started to have dreams about accidentally shaving it. Because
Yeah.
like Doc, when you like notch or you're shaving
Oh,
and touching
yeah.
up, and if you
It's
mess it up, it's all gonna
traumatizing.
go, right?
It's done. Yeah.
Like we're shutting
Yeah.
down
And
stream.
so-
I'm not going out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's like, well, got to get rid of it all. So I started to have dreams where I would be shaving and then take a notch out and go like, this is it, 6 months down the drain.
Yeah.
And then I kind of felt like a goofball. And then I mentioned it to Dylan. He was like, I've been having the same dreams. I was like, no way. So I guess it's this thing among people who are trying to grow out beards over a long
beards,
time
yeah.
that you
Oh, man.
start to have nightmares. You kind of wake up, like I would wake up and be like,
Well, it is. It's like
Beard
building
nightmares,
okay.
yeah.
building your house, and then one of the bricks breaks, and you're like, no.
Yeah, it's 6 months of work.
Yeah.
No.
yeah, it's like all the, it's kind of an investment. And at that point I was like, this is all I'm kind of up to right now. Like there's no other long form thing to sort of, who knows what's going on, but the beard is constant. The beard I can count on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I wake up, it's there.
The beard is
It has my
reliable.
coffee ready because it stays
Yeah,
on
the beard never fails me.
Yeah. Flavor saver.
Oh
Exactly.
man. Oh man, that's pretty funny. The trials and tribulations of beards.
I'm willing to bet Helen has that picture. Just saying.
Oh, I bet she does. Yeah, got that hidden away, tucked away somewhere. That gem, that beard gem.
Oh yeah.
A beard
Oh,
gem.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess not only before, but also nowadays, what else do you do in addition to the I mean, I know what else you do, but like what the people of the world, what else do you do besides the streams?
For all the people tuning in from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. So since I basically started at Digital Extremes, I've been working on the partner program and then the creator program.
Yeah.
So if you ever see Warframe in Twitch chat on one of the creator streams, that will likely be either myself or Taylor. Another thing I took on pretty early that I've sort of been more responsible for even more now as of late is glyphs. So like
Oh.
making sure glyphs are ready to deploy, and collecting those, and being responsible for those sorts of things. So additionally, if there's ever a mistake with the glyph, or if it's not uploading on the forums,
Blame you.
that's me. So yeah, so the creator program, helping creators with giveaways. But yeah, I would say 60 to 70% of my day is spent with the lovely creators in the program, and then I've recently been having more of a presence helping a PSA on Reddit, which has been really great. I'm a big fan of Reddit and our subreddit subsequently, so it's been cool hanging out there, and there's always lots of fun content. So I've been enjoying that a lot. So yeah, so it's a creator program, Reddit, and then back when we used to have IRL events, a small chunk of my job was being able to go see the community events like TwitchCon, or when people would come for Tennocon. It's a lot is run through community for TwitchCon, or sorry, for Tennocon. So a huge chunk of our year was kind of prepping for that and getting excited to have all the people there.
Right?
And it's there's a lot of moving parts, and I thought you guys might have been there for this. There was one year, I think it was 2018, where we went out to the movies with a bunch of people that were in town for Tennocon, and I was responsible for booking all the movie tickets. And so I bought it was like 122 tickets, something like that. And everyone came back and was like, "Oh yeah, this is for tomorrow."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh no!" I was like,
no,
"No,
it's
no,
not.
no, no."
This is for today.
Yeah, crush.
And I was like, it's not like, hey guys, we'll just take an extra day. We'll just come back tomorrow. Like, it didn't work that way. So it turns out, thank goodness, I had email receipts
Thank God.
that I had sent them the right day, and it wasn't my fault. But like,
phew.
but like, ooh, it was a tough like 40 minutes when I was like, oh man, I just that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. So I'd be responsible for coordinating things like that. So luckily, the movie tickets were not my fault.
We actually haven't had an opportunity to participate in Tennocon since we became creators.
No, we haven't.
We were there in 2019.
Yeah, pre-creator days.
Pre-creator days.
Yeah.
And then COVID last year and COVID this year.
Yeah.
So like,
we're looking forward to that future Tennocon where we get to be there in person as creators. That's gonna be pretty badass.
Yeah. It's an odd kind of trade-off, because like, as much as in-person Tennocon, like, we love it so much, it's a nice kind of way that almost like everyone's on kind of an even platform. Like, if you weren't able to make it to Tennocon, it's like I can see you just as much as I can see anybody else.
Exactly.
But yeah, like, I'm a big face-to-face interaction person.
Same.
Yeah.
There's probably a better way to phrase it, but and Doc, I was saying to Layla last night, like, I feel like my memory is subjective, and I feel like you guys are implanted in my Tennocon memories, because when like I see a crowd of people I know, you guys are like, hey, like,
for sure they were
just
there.
because we're so
I know
goddamn
them.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
right.
they
if
were
you had to
waving.
quiz
I know
me if you
were.
guys had been to Tennocon, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen them before for sure, but that's just my brain being like, all right, let's just like blend all these memories together. Here they are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite
but
possible though. Like, you may have seen us.
We
at
may have
20 we
crossed
saw you
paths.
at 2019.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We may
Yeah,
have. We
totally
may have yelled
possible.
at you from a distance.
Maybe. Yeah. I was
That smile is what it is.
Yeah.
Beacon.
All the teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus has the same type of smile, a
Yeah.
beacon of teeth. That's the big smiles.
Yeah, I do. I got some good chompers.
Yeah, for sure. So Tennocon is coming upon us. This is the next.
Yes.
It's the next big thing.
Yep.
What are you most excited for?
What I'm most excited for, it's a good question. The discrepancy between this is just me talking out loud. This isn't my answer, but I'm like, the discrepancy between what I can talk about and what I can't talk about.
Yes.
will make answering this interesting.
You have to be super vague.
What I will say is, I'm really looking forward to the panels.
Ooh.
And I say that specifically. People may be like, oh, there's 10 Alive and there's lots of stuff going on, but as an employee and on the day of Tennocon, there's a ton that needs to get done. So I never usually get to watch the panels. So because we do a blend of pre-recorded and live panels, as for myself working on the creator program, I'll likely be probably in some different Twitch chats watching the panels with people, but I actually get to watch them. And this is really cool for me too, because I don't typically get an in-depth look at my coworkers work on this kind of level. So
Yeah.
hearing their motivations, hearing, the different influences that went behind different things, most stuff I've kind of seen before, but, getting to sit down with an artist and hear them, speak about their process and everything like that. It's so fascinating, and it really makes you feel so proud to be a part of this team overall. Like, it just, Tennocon just gives you such a genuine source of pride to, be a part of the Warframe community, being able to, play a small role within Digital Extremes itself.
Yeah.
So being able to watch those panels, and then obviously Ten Alive is just so much fun. So being able to just see, such passionate, inspired, talented people talk about the things they work on.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
He gets to experience it this year.
He does. Oh, that's... So
yeah, so
some of the panels that are usually there'll be conversations about like the art, and there'll be those. I think maybe these are mostly contests, the art contest and the cosplay contest, and this year the music contest.
I don't think it's not a contest,
not really a
though.
contest, but like a reveal.
Yeah, like a I want to say like a community amalgamation, but the submissions for the art cosplay and covers. Yeah.
Can you? What other panels are there? Can you tell us, or are they secret?
I probably won't be able to confirm them. We'll have an official schedule coming out sometime in the future. So I probably can't mention it.
Can't mention what.
And if not, then you'll know soon regardless.
We'll just know that you're excited for all the panels. All of them are great.
That's all you need to know. Yeah, is that I'm pumped, and especially for the Tennocon. Ooh, yeah. You know what? I'll say less more than more, just because
just leave it up for the Tennocon.
He's like starting to. It's that little passion is.
He's like
burning inside. He's like, and then there's this. Oh my god, and shit.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I should say about streaming too, is the difference between knowing what we've decided on and knowing what we said publicly. There's often a big difference between the two, and so sometimes on stream I'll be like, I'll just move on, because I'm 95% sure we've said it somewhere publicly. But there's that little 5% that's like, ooh, I don't want to spoil this. So remembering, it's like, being on the community team, you want to have all the information, but it's also knowing what information is known to the public and what information is not known
yet to the public. That's true. That must be tricky.
So I just will go less than more, just as a form of habit, but our schedule will definitely be available in the lead up to Tennocon, and then you'll be able to check out, and you'll just know that I'm excited for basically everything.
All of it. The whole schedule.
Yeah, and honestly, I have to say one of my favorite parts of Tennocon last year was the commercials we did in between the different segments.
Yeah.
Right.
Brett McCartney worked on a lot of those. He was the one kind of playing the few different characters. I think he was I think one of them was named Chauncey. So funny. And I hadn't seen him in such a long time, because I sit 3 desks down from him. But haven't seen him face to face outside of meetings for so long. So Tennocon as well, it's like I actually get to see people I haven't seen in such a long time, which is so fun.
You get to reconnect. That's actually pretty cool.
That is cool.
That is nice. Sorry, I just one quick sec. Our chat is being a little ridiculous. They put us in a level 3 hype train with all their subs. Thank you,
boy.
Guys.
Watch out, Kaylor sniping!
Way to go, chat.
Let's play a little song for Kaylor. Kaylor, 29. 1220 subs in this channel.
1220?
1,220 subs. Kaylor, you son of a gun. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of that. And Bowtied Guy, thank you for 25 months of sub support. We love you.
Months. Oof.
Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Incredible.
Heroes
Good work,
over
Kaylor.
here. Right?
Yeah.
He's been grinding on that sub game.
Yeah. He's the hardest working one here.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah. So
shabby.
What will you be doing during Tennocon?
That is a great question. I will likely be doing what I did last year, which is checking out as many creator streams as I can, being able to chat with people, see what they're excited for. And honestly, it kind of comes down to, for me, like, we have such a blend of pre-recorded and live panels. On the day of, I really get to like enjoy the day in the streams, and so being able to chat with people, be in Twitch chat, that so far that's my core responsibilities. That may change, who knows. But as of right now, I'll be able to hang out and check out some streams and then enjoy the day with creators. So
That's
it's gonna be a great day.
that's actually the sweetest of the roles. Like you
Yeah.
get to just relax. Everybody else can stress out, and you just get to like hang out and watch the show.
Yeah, it's like I get to
reactionaries.
I totally like I get to come in and just be like, hey, you guys having fun? Isn't this fun? Yeah, I love it too. This is great. Okay, have a great day. You know, it's nice to just engage with such a positive kind of space. So
Yeah.
it's like the best kind of day. You know, it's just all things Warframe,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a total blast.
Oh, I'm a little jealous. That sounds like a lot of fun.
So our good friend
Pretty fun.
Glavy has asked this question multiple times, so I'm
Yes.
going to interject and ask it because it
Okay.
is of the utmost importance. Is that a Skyrim map behind you, Marcus?
It totally is a Skyrim map. So
You
Started
happy,
the-
Glavy?
I think a little bit earlier before the pandemic, one of my older brothers, Andrew, really got into pyrography. And so this is a map
Wow.
he wood burnt, and I think it took him 40 or
Wow.
50 hours. I'm a little delayed on the stream, so I'll try to like show the details as much as I can. And it's one of those
Holy.
things where I'm sure for you guys as artists as well that you kind of look back at it and you can see all the imperfections.
Yeah. That's
So he sort of looks at it now and is like, oh, you know, some of my earlier work. And then one of his fun parts of his wood burning is that he always does a little like kind of shout out to something in the universe on the back. So he included that Dark Brotherhood
Damn.
hand on the back, which is pretty cool. So
What
so
a
yeah, so-
treasure.
Yeah.
it was awesome. And I knew once I knew I was streaming, I was like, oh, I got to put it up somewhere for people to see. So yeah,
Well,
and
of
then you can
course.
see it's
You
Yeah.
do, of
how,
course.
how it's all held together.
Yeah, it's what's behind it.
Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't fall. We shall see.
Sin, thank you for those 5 gifted subs. Mary, thank you for 1,050 biddies. You guys, this is spoilage.
I would say so.
Settle down. You guys are getting out of hand.
So, obviously you love Warframe.
Yeah. You know
Naturally.
this.
Totally.
Mhm.
But when you sit down and you're like, Warframe or this, I'm definitely doing this.
Mhm.
What is that thing?
What is the thing? So would you say like outside of work? So like once the workday is done and
I'm
sitting
saying
down
more
and-
like video game wise.
Yeah.
Oh,
what do
video
you
game
prefer
wise,
to
totally.
play? Mhm.
So something I only briefly talked about this on Monday was like it was really funny, and this, sorry, I'm gonna go way back. You're gonna watch a live process of me see how long I could make a story and then actively try to pare it down to the most tangible bits as I can. So
Everybody, grab your butts, sit
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
yeah, grab your butts. Yeah, I remember I told my mom a story and it was 5 hours long. Also, I see my camera flickering. I'm just gonna unplug
That could be
a
us.
couple
That
things.
could be us.
Yeah, it may be. Here, 1 second.
Lala was dinking around with her computer.
We shall see. I've had it before. Rue on the community team helped me out with it, so I think that might have fixed it. We shall see.
Nice.
So when I initially interviewed for my internship at Digital Extremes, Reb was asking me, like, oh, what games do you love playing? And it was a really weird feeling because when I'd gone to university or college, for anyone else in chat, I decided to not take any video game consoles with me. It's like I got to focus on my studies. I'd heard of other, friends of mine going to school and, just spending so much time playing video games. I'm like, it's just going to be way too much of a distraction. I'm just going to want to play games all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to bring any consoles. So when Reb asked me and was like, oh, what have you been playing lately? I had to be like, I sort of like gave up video games because I thought it wouldn't help me in school. And then now here I am for a potential position and
Yeah.
it's exactly what I should have been doing.
Yeah.
So I was completely honest, and Reb, to her credit, thank you, Reb, totally understood. It was like, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that like to get here, I thought I didn't need to play video games, and then it was video game playing that actually was able to, put me in this position, which was such a roundabout thing. But because I gave up video games basically for 8 months out of the year for like 4 or 5 years, I was like, so many video games have come out that were amazing that I just haven't had a chance to play. So I have a queue of video games on my phone that I've been trying to get through, and I kind of think of it as like video game required reading. Like, you hear about
awesome.
these games all the time that just have such an impact on just the industry or like the genre and stuff like that. So especially starting with the beginning of the pandemic, I churned through a few games like Horizon Zero Dawn. Dark Souls is one that just like comes up constantly. and then both I played Last of Us 1 and I think Last of Us 2 right after, because another one that you just heard like, oh, it changed the genre.
Yeah.
So there isn't one game that I'll go to, and it's specifically why I haven't been able to play PvP games as much anymore. Is because like if you're not up to, like, I played a bit of Apex, but if you're not up to snuff and playing constantly, then you just get waxed all the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I've stuck to kind of more standalone games. So as of recently, I just started playing The Witcher 3, and that's what I'm just at the start of it, where I'm just sort of learning the controls again, and like I know it's like Andrew who would burn that map, it's his favorite game ever. Reb, one of her favorite games of all time. And it's on, a lot of people's like favorites list. But then outside of that, like I have to go back and play. I never played the original Bioshock, and I gotta play God of War. And I gotta play Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Like if I can suggest one, my man.
It'd be Bioshock.
Bioshock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I have the trilogy remastered for PS4. It's just like we're ready to go. Oh, Breath of the Wild. That was another one I just recently played, where it's one of those games where people just say like, oh, you haven't played Breath of the Wild, you gotta play Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get through all of those sort of like, I kind of do the same thing with films as well. Like I want to have seen all of the classics so that if someone goes, oh, well, if you know, and I'm like, yeah, no, I've seen it. But definitely having that same kind of feeling for video games. So yeah, after The Witcher 3, which who knows, people have sunk 300, 400, 500 hours into that and played it multiple times.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my best to play through it once and then move along.
So
because there's so many great games to play. Like I honestly say to people, we are in the golden age of video games right now, is honestly how I feel, because the amount of remarkable, incredible games that are coming out at just way too frequent of a rate to even play through right now is it's pretty great. It's pretty incredible. So
it really is. Yeah.
So out of all the critically acclaimed and suggested games that you've played, which do you feel came in the most lackluster? So the ones that you've completed.
Okay.
Which one is where you were like, I don't really see the big deal? If at all.
That is a really good question, and I'm probably skewed because, also feel free to, I'll think if you guys want to talk about the raid.
Okay.
As well.
Marcus is going to let his brain do a little ticking.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Successful Geezer, for the raid. It's such a pleasure to meet you. We raided Geezer yesterday.
Yes.
It was a treat to meet you. My name is Lala.
I'm Doc.
We're Angry Unicorn. Nice to meet you, and thank you for the raid. We are here with D.E. Marcus.
Now, I know that you were just getting into Warframe. If you haven't seen the live feed before, the Warframe feed, Marcus is one of the individuals who not only runs it, but also stars in it.
He is. He's a star.
And he does tons of background work for DE as well. So that's this guy. We're asking him all these interesting questions because he's a decent dude, and that's that.
He is, and that's what we're doing right now. So you guys, pull up a chair, sit back. We're just we're not reading too much of chat today, but if you have any questions, we will grab them and we will make sure that Marcus gets asked.
Yeah. All right. So I think I have an answer for you, Doc, and
Okay,
it's gonna be a partial cop out, unfortunately, but I think the issue is I really will only play games that I've heard so many good things about that it's like, okay, I have no choice but to play it. So I feel like I've kind of been spoiled because like the last few games that I've played in a row have all just kind of been juggernauts. Like even before Dark Souls, I finished playing Spider-Man on PS4.
Oh, which is
so like each game has really like if you quiz if I give you a list of each one, I could probably tell you 5 or 6 things about like what they just nailed. Like even for Dark Souls Remastered, like that game came out. Well, I mean, the original one, I don't know, came out like early 2000 or early 2010s. 2005.
Yeah.
And like it was a totally new experience, and I even had I said something about finishing it, and Reb was like, "Oh, do a write up," and I did a whole write up being about like, here's what they nailed, here's why it was fantastic.
Yeah.
This is this is just it's I'll send it to you guys after. I really got in depth with it. And I meant to do one for The Last of Us 2 as well, because that was another one where, you just sort of let the credits roll and put down the controller, and that you have to sit with your thoughts for a few weeks before you can kind of dive into it. So I can't say there's anything that I've played recently that hasn't lived up to the hype. They've all done a pretty great job. I would say, I can't think of any game. Like if anything, it would just be small parts of like like for Dark Souls, for instance, like if you don't have a person that helps you, it's an impossible game to play.
It can
is,
be
yeah.
tough. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for
and
sure.
the rigmarole
So,
of trying to get another person in your game,
Mhm.
you know, and that's another chore
Oh,
that has
yeah.
always been a big deal in those games, and has always made it a pain in the ass.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
play multiplayer in those games.
Yeah.
It's true.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those like it's kind of like a feast or famine type of deal where, you know, especially for the Switch, like obviously the Dark Souls community is huge on PC, but
Mhm.
it's way harder to get someone to help you out on
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 Switch
Switch,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Yeah, it
stuff
is.
like that. So
Is that where you play
um,
most of your games? You're mostly on the Switch?
I end up actually playing on the Switch a decent amount simply because I can take it with me.
Yeah.
So like it's really handy to just be able to play a game and then just take it on the road. So like when we were going to TwitchCon that one year, I think I played a ton of Dark Souls on the plane,
Yeah.
which was awesome. So it's really nice to just have a like I always think about the Switch, and I think of the conversation I would have with myself if I was like 12,
Yeah.
and being like, hey, you know your Game Boy, there's going to be a console that is going to do what your Game Boy does way better, but you'll
Yeah.
also be able to hook it up to the TV.
Right?
And that's just like it would have blown my have blown my mind at that age.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to be able to just, you know, like if I'm going somewhere for the weekend, I'm like, I'll just if I have any downtime, I'll just take my
I
Switch
got
with
this.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
that was really handy for Dark Souls and then Breath of the Wild as well.
Mhm.
But I do try to like Witcher 3, I'll play on like the PS4. Just because it you know looks incredible
It does. Yeah.
there, and like Dark Souls 3 as well. I'll probably play on the PS4. So I usually try to have. I feel like at some point this must be good for my brain. Is I try to play a game on the Switch, a game on the PS4, and then Warframe on the PC
Yeah.
because it's all different controller combinations.
Yeah.
And like what I will say for Warframe as well, like if you had to ask me one thing that I love about Warframe over anything else, it's the movement of Warframe. And like moving to other games where I try to bullet jump or I
Yes.
try to slide,
Oh,
and
the
it
pain
just
is real. I know.
yeah, it's a really like constricting because you kind of feel
Yeah.
like you're flying
Yeah.
in Warframe, and then you
Yeah.
go to something else, and it's like,
Like,
I can't.
Why am I
move
going
how I
so
want to."
slow?
I know. And when you can't jump, like in Dark Souls especially, and you're like, why can't I not walk up this very small little bump? This is frustrating.
Have you
Yeah.
have you done Bloodborne yet?
Ooh.
No, I haven't. It's in the queue. It's in the queue. So I have the queue. I could probably even pull up my queue right
Ghost
now.
of
But
Tsushima,
Dark
you
Souls
said?
3, Ghost of Tsushima is on there.
Also
Dark
an
Souls
improvement.
3, Bloodborne. Because I'm starting to get I'm gonna call it the From Software itch now,
Yes.
where
Yeah.
you want to get back into it.
Mhm.
So Bloodborne is on there for sure, and then probably Dark Souls 3, and then I'm gonna play Dark Souls 2 at some point. But I've heard it's kind of a more different entry than the other.
It is, but it's a lot of fun still. It's really
Oh.
like yeah.
Totally,
it's still
totally.
quite
So
good.
like, yeah, like I'll still. It's one of those like like of the Star Wars original trilogy. It's like
Yeah.
oh maybe there's one that's like slightly weaker than the others, but it's still one of the original trilogy Star Wars movies, right? So yeah, I'll definitely play it. And then Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is gonna come out, and I also have Spider-Man Miles Morales that I gotta play too. Taylor lent me her copy. I know Taylor, if you're watching this, her copy of Kingdom Hearts 2 that I also need to play on the PS2. So I'm trying to squeeze in as much gaming time as I can, but right now it's just tackling the many menus of Witcher 3 because there is a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah. Witcher
Mhm.
3 is an epic task.
If you ever need
Yeah.
a hand in Bloodborne, that game is in my top 3.
Yeah.
I've turned
Fantastic.
it into one of my lady friends.
Yes.
I played it
is.
some.
It's yeah.
Nice,
Yeah. You ever need
nice.
a
I will
helping
definitely
hand.
hit you up, Doc.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's actually a question that came in. What was the first game that hooked you? You can
Ooh.
remember your very first game.
Totally can.
Yeah.
First game that hooked me was Fallout 3.
Wow.
I remember playing it. Yeah, Fallout 3. I remember playing it at a friend's house, and up until that point, like I got a PlayStation, an original PlayStation, and my brother and I used to play. And when I say my brother and I used to play, I would watch him play because obviously he was much better at than me. I'd watch him play Spyro, and then we eventually graduated to PS2 games. Played a ton of like Pac-Man, Simpsons Hit and Run was probably our favorite game on that platform. And then I remember getting the PS3, and we played a lot of Call of Duty growing up because that was just what our friends played.
Yeah.
I remember going over to a buddy's house, and he was playing Fallout 3, and it was really cool because it was probably I'd never played an RPG like that before. Like I'd played Pokemon and other kind of like open world sort of side scroller RPG kind of games. But it was the first one where it really felt like you were a part of an atmosphere and an environment. Um, and a huge difference, I would say, between why I loved Fallout 3 compared to Fallout 4 was that it's just, it literally is the capital wasteland. Like, it's a huge, massive, open game. And I think I haven't played Shadow of Colossus. And that's one I'll get to at some point, maybe 10 years down the road from now.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard from people that love Shadow of Colossus is that a big part of the game isn't exactly what you're doing, but sometimes it's the quiet moments between traveling to bosses,
Yeah.
and it's just like kind of soaking in the environment. So I felt Fallout just nailed that brutal tone of an apocalyptic wasteland. Like, it felt scary, it felt like a dangerous environment.
Yeah.
And watching my buddy play that, I was like, I really want to get into this, and it was the first game I sunk like 300 plus hours into it. I just adored that game.
Well, that's
Okay.
a good one to start with.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
commitment.
it was awesome. Yeah, I absolutely loved it, and it was cool. And I don't know how much I said to my parents, but it was neat because kind of like the Assassin's Creed games is that when you go to those locations in real life, you can be like, oh, I've been there and there's that. So
Yeah.
when I visited Washington D.C. for the first time, I was like, oh, I kind of recognize this area. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, seeing the Washington Monument and stuff like that, it was neat to kind of orient myself in that way. So
I killed a guy
I
over
like that.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I killed so many mutants over here. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love that game. And as well, I really like old time kind of classic music. So like, 60s, 50s, those sort of tunes. So having the old world radio and having those songs on it, I know people on the Fallout subreddit talk about that all the time, where like the music's just fantastic.
Well, it made the
Um,
games. Like, the music for me in the Fallout games was everything.
Mhm.
Like, it
Yeah.
set the area, it set how primitive it felt, like it was the 50s or the 40s. And so they really recreated that feeling of, like, you don't have internet.
Yeah.
You don't have
Totally.
these extra things.
Yeah.
It's all very basic. And yeah, the music was key for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Setting that
Yeah.
tone
Simpler
and that
time.
environment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just it's such a contrast too, right? Because it's like here's the old world that used to exist, and then you have like I love that nuclear family kind of aesthetic that's sort
Yeah.
of in like the UI and with Vault Boy's design. I love that kind of like here's how things might have continued if things had gone this way. So yeah, the music you're so right, Doc. Just kind of seals in all the flavors. It's just
Yeah.
it's a great little bow for that game in the franchise.
Solid analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a question that came in. Our community recently got into Final Fantasy 14.
Nice.
Is that something you've dabbled in at all?
I've never played a Final Fantasy title.
No.
I'm sad to say.
It
Nope,
was my first
never.
one too.
I
Yeah,
imagine 7
I-
is on that list.
Oh.
Oh yeah, because 7 was originally on the PlayStation, right?
Yes, 1. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably where I'll start. But I know, kind of like PvP online games, I know Fallout, not Fallout, Final Fantasy is one of those kind of like all or nothing games. Like it's like
Yes.
you're in it or you're not. There is no kind of like casual playing.
No, no, you can't casually play an MMO that
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
You have to
Mhm.
invest for sure.
The so as a Switch player, and just to go back to that Switch conversation, so I actually consider the Switch my mini arcade. Like
Yeah.
it's for
Nice.
my indie games and like old school games, and like I love playing my Metroidvanias and stuff on there. Nothing big budget. That being said, they re-released Final Fantasy VII, the original one, remastered on Switch, so you can get it on there.
That is music to my ears, and that may jump the queue now because I'm running out of games to play. I actually have to finish Doom on the Switch, but that is really good to know, Doc.
Yeah, we went searching. Lala has this brand new session.
I do.
So she wants to know what she can get on all systems,
systems,
at a
yeah.
good price. And I was
Yeah.
just like,
Nice,
oh, well,
nice.
what an ideal way. Because it is still very, not pixelized. They fixed the pixelization, but the polygons, it's incredibly polygonal. So having it on that smaller screen is actually
Better.
beneficial.
Yeah.
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 I
like playing
imagine-
games on it.
I hadn't even considered that until you started talking about it. But even thinking about Dark Souls being remastered, it's almost like games that came out from 2000 to kind of that 2012 pocket will probably do so much better on the Switch because it's almost like it's it's not going to be nearly as good as it is on a TV, but still scaled up to a Switch
Yeah, it
from
still
that
looks
time
good.
is still going to be fantastic. So
Yeah.
yeah, like remastering a game
It'll be
to kind
brilliant.
of be on like, yeah,
And
Yeah.
yeah, so what they've been able to do. Well, it's all started in 720. That's why.
Mhm.
So there's nothing
Mm.
bigger than that. Like PS3, it was 720 max for games.
gotcha.
And so that on the smaller screen, you're not
Works.
stretching, you're not breaking, you're not pixelizing,
Mhm.
and so yeah,
Mm.
you're absolutely right. So when they remaster games like PS1 era, it's the same kind of thing. Like you're not blowing
Yeah.
it up, so it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And
any-
how exciting, Layla, to have this new. Oh, sorry, Doc. I
No,
cut
no,
you
no.
off.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry, bud.
Canadian
No.
standoff.
Yeah. Oh, I love me a good Canadian standoff. My favorite is when
Yeah.
there's two double doors and you
Yeah.
both hold them open for each other.
Yeah.
It's like
You're like,
ah.
who's gonna go first?
And you
Yeah.
start getting
Okay, I'll hold
violently
mine
polite.
open and then we'll both run through.
Violently polite. Yeah.
Violently polite.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's real. That's real life.
I was gonna say for you, Layla, like I know that feeling when you finally get into, like a new fandom and you're just like, I want to soak all this up. So like what kind of brought you
Yes.
into Final Fantasy? Like what drew it to you the most?
What drew me? Oh man, there was a lot. It's hard to say. Final Fantasy 14 is its own beast because a big part of it was the interaction for me. If I'm playing a game, I want to be playing it with other people. So like you
Right.
don't even have to play the game necessarily. You just have to be in the game, and the interactions with the other people in it are phenomenal, and the things that you can do together, and then the aesthetic. I'm also that's a really big part of it for me. But I'm a completionist, so I like lists. I like lists of quests where I can like check it off, and there's nice little check marks. Like so, Witcher
Yeah.
3, Assassin's Creed, like those games do it for me. Even though they have massive lists, I can like
Right.
clearly see my progress. So I also like that. I like the questing and the clear progression, and it's very linear, and I enjoy all that. So all of it, all of the whole experience of 14 for me did it in terms of what I liked in a game. But
That's really cool.
what made
Well,
me
it
think
came in a wave, is what it did.
did.
So, just to give you a little bit of background, Lala never really played video games growing up. She'd never
No.
experienced a lot of the pop culture stuff. Like her
No.
parents were more like like you learn about art and you learn about like
Music
cultured
and
stuff,
culture,
like
yeah.
and very like
no video games.
Totally.
yeah. But what ended up happening is she missed out on like 20 years of pop culture.
Yeah.
So when we got together, I was like, "Have you seen this?" And our chat would attest too. They're like, "What?
Yeah.
You've never seen Die Hard?" And so we started making lists of TV shows and things to, music obviously of all kinds over the past 20 years I've shared with her and taken her to
Amazing.
concerts and video games and but one thing that has really taken a hold of our household, mainly because of my daughter, is anime.
Anime.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So I've never been like a massive anime fan, but I'm on the cusp. I like the Attack on Titan and Death Note and Cowboy Bebop and the ones that really made it in the Western world. And so
Totally.
started showing her those, and she started falling in love with the aesthetic. And then once we got into Final Fantasy, she's like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's all so pretty."
Also pretty. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can have an idea of how I felt when I found out about your rally.
Gotcha.
So
So
you've experienced one of my tangents.
yeah, you were perfectly primed for
I
your
am
rally.
so
between all that.
ready. That's gonna
Oh.
be like Cora is my girl right now, but I don't know. She's gonna have some tough competition. It's all right.
It's
though.
gonna be some stiff competition. Yeah,
It
your
is.
rally looks fantastic. It's gonna absolutely hit that sweet spot for a lot of anime fans for sure.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's great too, Doc. Like I know I kind of said before, like I don't ever want to be caught by those people who are like, "Yo, you've never seen this?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I try my best. I know I was that kid growing up
Yeah.
where I would do that to people. I'm trying my best not to. But I know what you mean in terms of, having that. I don't know how to phrase this. When films came out in like in the early 1900s, it was considered as that kind of, not highbrow art form.
Yeah.
And then eventually has now kind of made its way into the, the general consciousness. And it's cool to have started playing video games at a time where they still weren't, considered art. And then now it's like, how could they not be considered art? Like it's a piece of art you get to experience yourself.
Yeah.
Live,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
So it's-
incredible,
Your own
and a
way.
lot of people who stuck to it, like you said earlier, like You didn't realize that it would be essential to your career because there are careers to be had in video games now.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's neat. And watching what's really cool is being so I'm 34 this year. So I am the starting like I am at the beginning of the home console. So the Atari into the Nintendo into the Super Nintendo. And what's really neat is there's people like 20 years younger than me now who are finding these things in these art forms, and they're like, this is incredible. And I'm like, it's so neat to have loved that as a kid and see it stand the test of time when everybody along the way was like, that's not, it's gonna fail.
Video games are
Video
bomb,
games
yeah.
are trash.
Yeah.
It's not gonna become anything. So yeah, seeing that and being like, yeah, I was alive then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had that OG Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been
it's
here
like
since
the
beginning.
ultimate, the ultimate like I want to say it's not quite the hipster kind of way because like before it was cool because it was cool. People just didn't think it was going to be cool for as long as it is.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a long form kind of like I held on when no one else would. So that's really cool, Doc. And I was gonna say too, like for you being able to show Layla all these new things,
Oh,
like
it's awesome.
there's such a joy of
Oh, yeah.
people like to talk about. I wish I could erase this from my memory to experience it again the first time. And as close as you can get to it is showing someone you love that thing you love and have them love it just as much, if not more.
You
Well, and
always
that's
express
just
that.
it. Like
Yeah.
sitting there watching her experience these amazing solo games or amazing
Yeah.
movies or whatever, and I'm paying more attention to her
Yeah,
than
and
the actual
my-
movie because I'm like, oh, what will she think of this part?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the best part. And
Oh.
yeah, but it's neat. Like I don't understand these people who put other people down when they don't have the knowledge. I'm like, let me show you the way.
I'm so excited.
Like
It's like
I
this is
can teach
great.
you.
My chat has a pop counter for me, so how many pop culture references I've missed? I'm at 445 right now. 446. I just put one in. So I mean, that's a lot of knowledge for you to share. It's going to be a lifetime's worth.
But I've started getting a crab now. They're like, how have you not shown her this yet?
How does she not know about that?
Oh, that's good. Okay, so all everything's coming off of Layla, and now it's like, Doc, this is your
now it's like, Doc, this
responsibility.
is your problem.
How could you let this happen? Come on.
Years.
What do you mean she's never seen that?
Yeah, what do you mean?
That would have been the first thing I showed her.
Yeah, I guess that would be the tough thing is like, do you especially for something like anime, like I feel like Cowboy Bebop would be a great entry point where it's kind of like a bridging between something that'd be pretty familiar to a Western audience.
I
That
started
is
her
also
on
kind of like a bridge into that world.
Attack on
Yes.
Titan,
Yeah.
which was a bit much at the time, but I think she could handle
I could
it
do
now.
it now, yeah.
Death
Nice,
Note she
nice.
fell in love with.
Love Death Note.
Cool.
I showed her a bit of Bleach just because it's really accessible, and a bunch of Studio Ghibli.
Royal Pratt introduced me to
I love
Fruits
it.
Basket, and I've
Yeah.
just been like all over that. That's such a good show.
Oh, I never heard of Fruit Basket.
Well,
Yes, you
Write
got
it
one
down.
eating.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Moving on up.
It's like a more of a fluffy romantic comedy type of anime. It's very peaceful and happy and joyful.
I grew up on rom-coms, so
There you go. Yeah, so you need this anime in your life. It's pretty fantastic.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have more Warframe. We have been, we kind of got on a sidetrack, which was a wonderful, beautiful conversation that I've adored. But I do have some more Warframe questions,
Cool. Let's hear 'em.
if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Well, actually, there was one that came in from chat, so I'll ask that one first.
Cool.
Somebody wanted to know if you have any knowledge about plans for toys or action figures that are Warframe related, vinyl pops or articulated motion. There was a lot of. We've seen Noggles. We've seen the
Yeah.
floofs that are coming. Is there anything else that you know about?
You guys got to hit up Odd McFarlane.
Ooh.
You say Todd McFarlane?
Yeah.
Is that a big games person? Should I know who this?
Oh, Marcus.
Neither of us know what you're talking about right now.
you just you it's like you punched the air right out of my stomach.
Marcus, I'm right there
God.
with you.
So
Don't
Todd
worry.
McFarlane is the creator and the artist who does Spawn.
Spawn.
Oh.
But Spawn was incredible because it started as a comic book, but he quickly, because he has this fascination with physical art, he began creating statues and having statues made of Spawn. But it turned it, because they're so lifelike and incredible, and they're truly like, if Todd McFarlane puts his name on your shit, you made it.
Really?
But he started doing horror movies, musicians,
Oh.
like, and it got into this big industry.
Yeah.
Sports stars, like you name it now. But I highly suggest you look it up. If not for Warframe, obviously, like that was a joke, but or not a joke if you do it, but look it up for your own knowledge.
I will too. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. This is a guy
It's
that
a
does
joke,
figures.
but like if it happens, it happened here
It would be-
first.
That's
yeah,
right.
It was
our-
Doc.
It was
I
Doc's
just
video,
like
yeah.
I just want free
Yeah.
toys if that happens. I'm not even asking for anything monetary. Just send me the toys, goddammit.
Same guy who made Family Guy. That's the same Todd McFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane.
No, you're
Seth
Seth MacFarlane.
did the Family Guy. Okay,
yeah.
digressive. I was thinking it too. I don't know.
Yeah, the name sounds really familiar outside of Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think McFarlane toys like that definitely ring a bell in my mind.
Rings
Yeah.
a bell, yeah.
But yeah, in terms of toys behind the scenes, or I should say Articula or creations that way, I am not aware of it. It'd be slightly outside of my wheelhouse in terms of what we'd select for that. However, I can say the amount of love for figurines and Articula and everything in that sort of regard. We have a ton of Gundam fans internal to DE. So if we have a chance to expand in that way, I don't see how we wouldn't take
Yeah.
that route.
Can you imagine? if they
Just
did
because
it
there's so
like
much
that,
love for
too?
it. But that's my own personal speculation.
Like
I'm
modular
really not
Warframes?
sure, but what's up?
Modular Warframes,
Yeah, like Gundam that you build.
like Gundam.
Oh, that would be
Ooh.
so much fun.
That would be super sweet.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
that would be awesome. Yeah, but even just within the community department, we've all got different statues on our desk. I'm pretty sure that we had a statue just come out with I'm pretty sure it was the Sacrifice collection.
Oh,
Might have been where we have the Lotus. Oh, it was the Second Dream collection. It was the Second Dream collection.
ooh.
And I don't want to spoil anything in chat, but there's a figurine with that collection with an important moment
You guys.
with the
look into
character
that.
itself starts with an L. So we still will do it when we get the chance to, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super pumped for the floofs, and I know everyone loves having that kind of physical representation of the things they love.
It's
I-
true.
So
Twitter fell in
I
love
sure
with
hope
the
it's something we
floofs.
can do.
Yeah, the floofs are a big deal. They're a very big
They're
deal.
they're massive. I'm a huge floof fan myself.
Are you gonna be able to get your hands on some of those?
Oh, I will. I
Okay.
will absolutely, without a doubt.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, no question. I'm gonna own
Yeah.
those.
So
Absolutely.
Uniducky
absolutely.
floof in the game when? Or-
Yeah, well, we just gotta keep on putting the bug in the ear.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Uni.
Either angry
Ooh.
Unicora or the Uniducky floof.
Uniducky floof.
I
Yeah.
don't care which one it is, Marcus, but make it happen.
That would be pretty epic.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
I thought so. Yeah.
I figure like
Oh,
if one of us dies or something, then with that'll be the
I'm knocking on wood.
Yeah.
No.
Just imagine you pull like what was it the Sherlock remake? You do like a Sherlock season 3, and it's like, oh Doc,
yeah.
how
No.
can we commemorate you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need a floof in Warframe.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah. And
Then
I'll
like
just
3
change-
years later, you come back and your hair is just bleached, and it's like, oh, here's Doc's
Oh.
identical twin.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely not him.
No,
we
no
knew
way.
about
Yeah.
this guy all along. This isn't Doc. It's Rock.
Yeah.
Rock.
I don't want to spoil this show, but there's a show that did that like so unapologetically, like brought back the identical actor and was like, oh, the brother died, but here's his, and it wasn't a soap opera. Like this was like a
Was
mainstream
it?
show, and
Oh no.
I can't talk about it because it's gonna spoil the whole
Oh,
second
damn
season.
it. All right. Okay.
But it was hilarious because like my partner's watching it, and I would just kind of watch it over her shoulder sometimes.
Yeah.
And this person comes back, and I was like, oh come on! But the show is self-aware, and it's tons of fun. So
That's nice.
Yeah.
When it can
Awesome.
tease itself, that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, when it's kind of like you know what we're doing, we know what you're here for. We're gonna do it anyway. It's gonna be a ton of fun.
I love
I
that.
love that.
So everybody always likes to know what is your favorite either bit of lore or Warframe or thing in the game that what really like connected you with the game that you've fallen in love with.
That's a really good question. There's definitely quests that resounded with me quite a lot. I would say Rel's story in the Chains of Harrow quest. I knew a lot of young people around me growing up that had special needs or may have had autism. So seeing a great representation of a boy who happens to have autism in the game was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a part of the team when that quest came out. I think I joined as an intern 6 months after that. But being able to play through that quest, it was just a really cool experience, and I felt like it was done with a lot of tact and a lot of grace. And I thought that was really great. So that was a really cool quest for me just to play through. I thought that was awesome. But I would say the Laverians for me, going through some of those, like if you guys haven't gone through Ash's Laverian, that was one of those stories where I was like, this is the kind of lore. I would say Ash and Ivara's Laverian. Reading through those, I was like, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Because like, I love reading books, and it was like, those are the kind of narratives that really drew me in. They're really I don't want to say character driven, but it's neat to see the lore behind those warframes you've seen so many times. So yeah, a few of the Laverians just really, and I would say Gauss's as well for that, or was it Grendel's? Maybe it was Grendel's. Either Gauss or Grendel's, but yeah, Ash and Ivara's stories were like,
Beautiful.
goosebumps. Like if I'm reading something and I can audibly go like, oh, like that sort of thing, then you've got me. And that definitely happened a couple times going through those. So yeah, so I'd say those two Laverians have probably been the like most like where you finish something, you're like, oh, you're like kind of sweaty. You're like, oh, that was great.
Yeah. That's no one's ever said Laverians before. That's
No.
a really good answer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Like the
Yeah, I love those
actual
things.
warframes themselves and their stories.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Makes you want to go back and re-experience them.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
I'm gonna have to go back
Totally.
and do it. Oh man, my question was on the tip of my tongue and then it disappeared. Oh, there. I had it back. I got it back. It came back. What is one of the coolest things you've got to do at your job with DE? So, like for example, when we asked this question of Danielle, hers was the dance, the mocap.
Of course.
So what's been one of your coolest experiences?
Oh, that's a good question. This is one of those.
Need to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting
Yeah.
fired after buying all those tickets.
Solid.
Not getting fired after buying all, or not realizing that I didn't need to be fired after buying all those
Buying
tickets.
all the wrong tickets. Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, there's a real half an hour there where I was like, I don't think this is something I get fired for, but I also don't know. Like,
for sure.
like working for digital streams is my first kind of professional job ever.
Yeah.
So I was like 90%. I'm sure we're fine, even if this was all my fault.
Yeah.
But I was like, so yeah, that was definitely one of the more harrowing experiences, but not the coolest. That's an excellent question, because there's so many cool things I've been able to do, and I'm incredibly fortunate to be a part of this team. Like even like the first thing that comes to mind is just being able to go to TwitchCon and go to I went to PAX West with Taylor in 2018. I think we went 2018, and that was a really, really cool experience. It was the first industry conference I'd ever been to, and I grew up watching Philip DeFranco going to E3, or I think would watch like Kasim G at conventions and stuff like that. And so having seen conventions, but then actually being there in person and it being exactly how I thought it would, has been really cool. So I would say, like, on a personal note, that was probably one of the coolest things. Like a fun memory from that convention as well was if you guys have ever heard of the game Spy Party, it's on PC.
Yeah.
I've never really been able to get into it, but we played that on the floor of PAX West, and we didn't realize as we were playing that a small crowd had started to form around our game, because you're just dialed on the screen. And so it was just the two of us playing, and then Taylor shot me, like she got me in one, and all I heard was this big like oh from behind it. I kind of look around, and there was a bunch of people watching the game, and it was just a really fun experience and a great time to just get to know Taylor a lot better as well. And we've worked together so much over these past few years, so it was kind of like the first trip we were able to take. And then in terms of internally for Warframe, yeah, that is such a good question. Probably, I would say probably being able to help coordinate, because I don't handle glyph integrations myself. There's a few different hands that go into that process, but being able to help in the process of giving content creators a way to represent themselves in game, because for as much time I spend working on Warframe, there's an entire ocean of people who have played the game for so many hours, and their communities are so invested in Warframe, and so to be able to have that physical representation in the game of just like all that love and dedication and just passion, not just for Warframe, but just for something,
Yeah.
I would say is probably the coolest part of my job, and probably one of the cooler things I've done.
That, yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is, and you get
That's
to
one
work.
thing that Warframe has done,
Yeah.
I would say, and being a part of other creator programs, the integration of the partners in like that
Mm-hmm.
creates, I mean, it seems like such a simple thing to have done, but it creates such a connection,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and for example, like our communities, we all have our own community as content creators. Our community rocks those glyphs. It's like representation of us within the game we all love, and no other games really do that.
Mm.
I agree. Like that have
Yeah.
that thing that represents
Yeah.
you as a person who's connected to the game, who's supporting the game and playing it every day. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, I should say too, like, to clarify, I'm one part of this process, and I think Drew originally started it, and then Taylor was doing glyph integrations for a while, and then now it's been something I've been more responsible for, just the coordination of it. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes to make
Mhm.
that happen.
Mhm.
But just being one part of that process has been really cool. And yeah, and like seeing the Uni Ducky in game, like what more do you want, right?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I
that's
guess
what
the
it is.
Uni Ducky decoration, but the
Ducky
glyph's
was-
pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. The
yeah.
glyph's pretty cool for now. It's good.
We
Yeah.
it's what is it? Everybody starts to get bored, right? And we're like, well, now we want something
more.
bigger.
Yeah.
And it's
It's like, yeah, but like, and then it's gonna be the Uni decoration, and then it's gonna be the, oh, what's that? Profit Taker's being replaced by a giant Uni Ducky.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so listen, guys, Uniframe, Uniduck frame, I don't care what you
Yeah.
call it, integrate it.
Freaking creators.
Yeah.
We're needy divas.
We're needy, so needy.
And divas.
Yeah.
Max.
I'm just
divas.
saying there's a lot that you can do with a Uni Ducky.
There is. That's
is.
true.
A lot
There's
of potential there.
There's a lot of potential for the duck.
Oh yeah.
I like we had Zam Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus. You're amazing.
So did we want to deviate away from?
Wait, yeah, we can now. Like that. I think that was.
How are you doing on time, Marcus?
We got another 45.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll.
Got it.
Goody.
I think that it's necessary now to go into his Canadian roots.
Yes.
It's time we
Cool.
find out about the
Generally,
story.
we do that up front.
We do. We preserved the moment until now. And so we always have to ask, as you know, and as all Canadians know, and people in the Angry Unicorn stream, every
course.
Canadian at birth gets assigned a moose.
Yep.
As our own personal thing to take care of and bring up into this world. So we want to know about the story of your moose.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about my moose is that for me it works just slightly differently. If for those that know, around Canada, you have some people for their kind of vacation home out in the woods. You may have a cottage, or you may have something that's called a camp.
Yes.
And so in different parts of Ontario and broad Canada, you may have a cottage, you may have a camp. So luckily, I was able. My grandparents owned a camp for much of my young adult life, and so for people that have camps, the process of getting your moose is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So they live in northwestern Ontario, and so because they have a camp, you go through what's called like a it's sort of like, I don't want to say like it's like your rite of passage for northern Canada.
Yeah.
But you sort of have to earn your moose as you come into your adolescence. So for me, the way that kind of worked was, I would visit my grandparents every summer, and so the sort of thing you do is that you have a moose it's more of a spiritual assignment to you, and so we have an ancestral flute within my mom's side of the family. So what you do is every kid when they come of age. In the springtime, there's a clearing about 25 kilometers northeast of my camp, and so it's different for every camp. It might be a lake, it might be a clearing, it might be a cave for some. And so you go out into the middle of this clearing and you play what's called the Etude de Moose. It's just a very simple song, and you have to play it, and you just have to really calm yourself. And eventually, a moose will present itself from the woods, and in its best deep moose baritone, hum the melody
Right.
to your flute.
Your
And
flute.
that's how you're assigned your moose if you have a camp in northwestern Ontario. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So a little bit different. There's nothing wrong with being
No,
giving your moose at birth, but it's just
you
a,
get your
a
mooses
bit
in
of a
different
different
ways.
process.
It's true.
Yeah.
Hate
Yeah.
living in Southern Ontario.
I know. Yeah, you got the short end of the stick in
Southwestern, if
Southern
we're
On.
being
There's
exact.
less clearings. There's not as much. There's not the same kind of access to moose in the same way. So, it's kind of a fun. It's just a fun tradition within my family. So yeah, that's how I got my moose. My moose's name is Elliot. Elliot the moose.
Elliot the moose. Aw, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like a
and
boy coming of age, and he did his moose song, and his moose came to
Yeah.
him. It was
Yeah.
such a beautiful story.
It was
Yeah, you gotta practice that,
It's
and
amazing.
there's that massive hike, and then you return and you have your moose. And it's great.
Oh man, that was one of the best moose stories that we've ever had on this
Yeah.
channel. Thank you for that moose story. That
You're
was
welcome.
epic, and it even convinced me. That was
Perfect.
It's like, oh my god, is he?
yeah. Is he? Oh,
For
maybe
real,
there
I mean,
are the moose calls
yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Their dog was making
Yeah.
fun of them.
Yeah,
It's a real
that's
thing.
Real freaking thing.
Also, we'll take
Yeah,
a sec. Born to be God,
Born to
another
Be.
amazing content creator for Warframe.
Heck yes.
Thank you for that raid, my brother. I hope you had an amazing stream. Thank you so much. He does say hi, Marcus.
Hey, born to be God. What's going on?
Oh, okay. So we know about the origins of your moose now. Thank goodness.
Mhm.
What's your favorite part about living in Canada?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Oh, and I should say, while I think about this, I
Mhm.
didn't forget Layla,
Oh,
and I did double up on my socks today.
oh, did you?
Oh,
Oh,
snap.
thank goodness.
Guys,
You guys, this is the proof that moose.
I was
are
I was
our
informed yesterday that you'd be inquiring about
Yes.
my moose, but at the time, and Layla can confirm this, I was wearing my moose socks without
He
even knowing it.
It was perfect. It was
And I wore
perfect
'em.
timing. It was
Meant
like
to be.
it was
Wore 'em
meant to
again
be.
today.
Yeah.
there's a word for that.
What is it?
Serendipity.
That's exactly what that was. Yeah. So you
Mhm.
guys, now
It
you
was meant-
know a boy and his moose, and
Yep,
and
legit.
you get moose socks. I think that's like the 10th year graduation. You get your moose socks with
Yeah,
your,
exactly. It's
yeah,
kind of like
around
your
there.
it's kind of like your crest. Like if you and your moose are still on good terms, they still got their horns intact. If they're a bull, then you get your pair of socks.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's lucky. I'm
I
glad
feel like
you
we
got
got
your
ripped
socks.
off. I feel like
I-
growing up here really like
Didn't get the socks.
no.
I didn't.
It's like
no.
private school versus public school.
I think so, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and as we learned from Helen, if you're
Mhm.
really in the elite, you
Get
get
a
a
polar bear. A goddamn
I
polar
didn't
bear.
know about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helen and her polar bear, so jealous.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Yeah, if you get really far north, and I think Helen with her Finnish roots as well lends more to having that kinship to polar bears. So
Yes.
for
true.
her as well, it really checks out. So
It really
yeah.
does. Yeah.
mhm. So yeah, so what is it my favorite part about living in Canada or the best part? I guess that's the kind of the
Either
same.
yeah, no, yeah, what's your favorite part? What's the best part for you?
My favorite part, it's a really great question. I'm trying to think. I've definitely spent some time, like I've never lived outside of Canada for long periods of time, but I've been outside of Canada for weeks at a time. So I'm trying to think. Oh my goodness. It's either Zach or Taylor on the wrong account,
Yeah, I
or
love
maybe
it.
Sarah
I love it.
on the Warframe account.
Is it Zach?
Uh,
Taylor? Zach? Oh.
It's the perfect account.
Oops.
Probably just how nice people are. Like Canadians genuinely care for each other, and I think the one way that's been summed up the most is growing up. And I mean, this will depend for different people across different areas, but I grew up never locking the door.
Yeah.
Like my
Yeah,
dad never
right?
locked the door.
No, we need
It was just one of those weird things where you just didn't. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. I was wondering if it was just like my dad going rogue. But yeah, he just never did. And and eventually we had to lock up our bikes but for a long time, you just sort of like, you'll walk by someone's place and their stuff's just out, or
out. Yeah.
their front door's locked or unlocked and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah.
I have a aunt, uncle to this day, they have never locked their doors. And so I think I love that. And I think there's also just I was coming home from Europe one time, and it's like just the general vibe of people being able to wave to people on the sidewalk,
Mhm.
because I think in different cultures there's just a different sort of level of like, oh, you're a stranger, I wouldn't really say hi to you, but it's sort of like there's that kind of kinship within Canada, And I think that's most strongly felt outside of Canada. Like when you run into another Canadian, it's like, hey, you're another Canadian. Wow,
Yeah.
look at that,
Yeah.
It's so exciting. So I think that, yeah, that camaraderie and that kinship among Canadians has got to be
Is-
probably my
That's true.
favorite
Like
thing.
when we
I
went to
agree.
Scotland, that was one of the
Agree.
things that stood out the most. I remember like exactly where we were.
Yeah.
We met that guy from Calgary, and I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa!
It was
It's like he may as well have been my goddamn neighbor back in Canada. I was so excited.
So you meet a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Canadian in another country, and
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, you're
Like,
my
oh,
best
how
friend
you liking
now.
it? Oh, it's pretty
Yeah.
good. Missing
It's
Timmy's
like you guys
though.
have grown up together.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
immediate best friends.
And
I
like
love that.
somebody always checks in. Like, did you catch the hockey game? Like one of us had to have watched it back
Yeah,
home.
you have
Did
to
you check
check
it out?
in.
Oh no, I didn't catch it. Oh, you didn't miss much. Toronto's out again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Whoa.
same as always.
Yeah.
I feel I'm not. I do have to say that's the one thing I lack in terms of my my Canadian pride is that I can hold my own in shinny, I would say, but I never played hockey growing up, and my family didn't watch hockey growing up. But I'll always watch hockey during the Olympics. But my goodness, do I ever feel for those Toronto Maple
I
Leafs fans?
know,
Like,
like,
Yeah.
I have
can't they
buddies
get
that
a
are huge
break?
fans, and like I would rip on them and be like, oh, to here come the Bruins and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like even this time, it's like how bad it is just by the fact that there hasn't been a ton of. I feel like, and this is maybe just for me, I've seen less people making fun of Maple Leafs fans just because of
noticed
how
that as well.
They
heartbreaking
feel
it
bad.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's just sort of like, oh, like this. It stopped being funny. Like now
Yeah,
it's just
this is
really
a bit
really
cringy
painful.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Uh,
bad.
yeah, those poor Leafs fans.
So,
That's
did
rough.
you grow up in Northern Ontario?
No, so actually I grew up in Niagara, but my mom's side of the family is
Beautiful.
from Northwestern Ontario,
Yeah.
and it also play into my last question that you may ask me, so that may come up again.
Okay.
So no, so I didn't grow up there, but I would spend at least a week every summer, in Northwestern Ontario, and so it feels like a part of my childhood has always been spent there. So like my love for fishing, that comes from out there. Even just the general enjoyment of the outdoors would come from spending summers up there and stuff like that. Taught me to be resilient against mosquitoes, and visiting there in the wintertime too. It would often get to negative like 30 below. So my brother and I would play hockey on the creek, and
You do. Yeah.
it
I believe it's
I feel
pronounced
like I
crick.
haven't.
Crick hockey. Yeah.
Yeah. We were playing hockey
Yeah.
out on the creek.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, out on the creek. Yeah, we'd shovel off a little section and
patch.
play for the time we'd spend there. Yeah, it was awesome.
Aw.
Guy's not real Canadian. He's been Americanized.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I was like trying to connect with him, and he's like, "What? Crick?
Creek. You know?
Like cricket? Like what?"
Sometimes we pronounce that in Northern Ontario like creek. That's it. That's
Yeah,
real.
creek.
That's
And
real.
it's funny how like
Okay, I don't know what you're
You're,
talking
uh,
about, but
your pronunciation can shift slightly being around. Like there's more, I would say, Canadian accents. It's a bit heavier.
yeah.
And even speaking to other Americans, they can hear it in my voice, even though I would say it's not as pronounced.
Yeah.
But if I spend, a week or two up there, I'll come back and kind of just, like, oh yeah, it was a really great time
Yeah. It's a
up
little more
at the con. We went
accented. Yeah.
Yeah.
out on the boat, and it was great, and we got a ton of fish.
Yeah.
Like just a slight kind of
like-
a bit
Yeah.
a bit more in the
everything
voice.
gets
Yeah,
elongated a little bit more. Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Silky, thank you so much for the raid. Speaking of amazing Canadians, you guys go follow Silky C, an incredible Canadian caster and sweetheart. through and through.
She is one of a kind, just
She
an
is.
absolute gem.
Just a gem.
And guys, everybody, thank you so much so far for hanging out,
Support.
checking out Marcus. This has been amazing. The raids have been insane.
Yeah.
Love it. Didn't expect it
No,
today.
thank you. You guys
Uh,
appreciate it.
And yeah,
Yeah,
so,
thanks for hanging out
Oh, the
and
support.
listening to me ramble.
I'm loving the Marcus ramblings. They're wonderful.
Mhm.
It's fantastic. Okay, so we know your Canadian heritage now.
Yep.
We know about your love of video games and your history with video games. What
Mhm.
else makes Marcus Marcus? What other passions and interests do you have?
Storytelling. No, I
Ooh.
love being able to tell stories, and nothing like one of my greater enjoyments I would say in life is when you're kind of in a group of people, like there's like a semicircle or circle of like 12 to 14 people, and you're telling someone a story right next to you, and gradually as the story gets along you can hear the group start to gradually quiet, and then you look and you realize you have the attention of the whole group listening to this one story, and I'm like, oh, that's the best when I know I've got like the
Yeah.
microphone. That's one thing that my dad always likes to say about the Kretz family is that you've never met a Kretz that doesn't like a microphone.
Yes.
So we're it's in my blood, but
That's
love
amazing.
telling stories. What else makes me me? I love films, and I also play the saxophone. I'd say that's
Snap.
one of the more
Cool.
interesting things that I do, and I was able to.
Cool.
It kind of worked out really well. I bought a saxophone December, which was 3 months before we got sent home. So I've been able to practice a bunch, and like I played a bit in elementary school, and then I was in the band in high school. So it's kind of been like relearning my chops and getting back into the swing of things. So yeah, that's definitely another one of the big ones. Yeah, film, saxophone. Really like I play competitive ultimate frisbee. Haven't been able to in a few summers.
Mm.
And so then recently I've been playing more disc golf, which is I feel like people always get confused between the two. Ultimate frisbee being the field sport, where it's kind of like running up and down the field, versus the golf version where you're throwing the little
Into the
frisbees
net.
into the
Into
basket.
net. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you can play
Yeah.
that one more solo and at a distance, which is
Yeah,
makes it a big
exactly.
deal for- Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, I want to hear Marcus on the sax.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
sexy.
I bet he's good at sax.
Oh, bet he is. I want to see that. I want to
Yeah,
see it.
I've been I may be I'm slightly running out of time, but I want to get a submission in for the sleeping in the cold below.
On sax, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
So
awesome.
I who knows how good it will sound, and we shall see if it makes the final cut. But I'm gonna try to get one in. So it's been nice. Like I have no one to play the saxophone for, but the community team, bless their hearts, will have. We usually have daily calls just to kind of catch up, see what's on
Yeah.
the docket for the day and stuff like that. And so every once in a while, I'll be able to sneak in a song for the community team and stuff like that. So I've been able to play for them, which has been nice
Oh my
because
gosh.
usually I'm just playing for my cats and my partner, who has to hear me playing the same three notes over and over and over and over and over.
So
So it's been fun. It's been fun playing for them.
That's so
And
awesome.
they're really
incredible.
encouraging, which is very kind of them.
now we always ask if somebody will sing a song with Doc on his next album, but I think the question here is clear.
Yeah.
Will you do a sax solo on Doc's next
100%.
album? Heck
Oh,
yes.
1000%.
That
Sign
would
me
be
up for
so
that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Who can
Yep.
write?
Heck yeah.
Anybody also, I just wanted to mention anybody in chat who hasn't heard it or hasn't been in today, we will be
Yes.
playing the video
Yes.
for Sleeping in the Cold Below just after the interview
Yes.
and before we take off. So just stick around after the interview if you want to check that out. It's a hard rock cover of Sleeping in the Cold
Yeah.
Below.
Doc's band just finished it. It's pretty rock solid. We're pretty excited about it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome. I mean, the
banging.
song lends itself so perfectly to heavy metal,
Heavy
right?
metal.
It does.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
perfectly for it. Oh, that's awesome, Doc.
Yeah. We're
Thank
really
you.
excited
Yeah,
about it.
I'm really excited. I really gave it
That's wicked.
1000%.
Yeah.
Basically took the week off and focused on this.
And just focused on that video, but it was worth it. It was worth it. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like arranging the song and then getting the video together, right?
So
And I've
much
never
work.
made a music video before.
No.
Which is that was the tricky part. I was like, we need a video. You need a video these days.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to make a video. So somehow, some way, through magic and perseverance, I made a music
Pulled it
video.
out. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I am absolutely dialed in for that. That's gonna be awesome.
Beautiful.
So, Doc, like for your band, had they heard of the song? Were they totally on board? Like, did you have to kind of sell it and be like, oh,
No. With my band's amazing. So if I bring anything to them and I'm passionate enough about it, they'll do it.
nice.
I feel like I'm being interviewed now. So I actually met my producer and my bass player when he produced my album, my debut album since I got back into music, and then we put together our first album.
Yeah.
And it was just it went together beautifully. We did it all. They live in Owen Sound, and we're in Guelph,
Cool.
so I imagine you know that distance.
Yep.
And so we did everything separately until recording the vocals for the album, and it was just it came together, and the songs just were wonderful. And anyway, long story short, I brought this to them because I was like, this is a few things. It's potentially a big opportunity for more people to hear our music. It gives me an opportunity as a content creator who's not just kind of serving to the casual audience, but I can actually contribute something as a content creator that is heartfelt and coming straight from what my passion is. And it was just a really good song. And it led to a bunch of things, actually. It led to us interacting with Keith. It led to us
Nice.
interviewing DevNet.
Devnet. Oh, that was such a beautiful interview.
And so it was just kind of this neat little month-long journey
Yeah.
of like memorizing the song and listening to it on repeat and like reinvigorating my love because I was in that, when you stall a little bit in Warframe and you step away for a minute and you come back. So that was like a comeback moment for me there, and yeah, so I'm really excited about this more than anything else right now, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. It's
amazing.
You did a great job. I love that about the Warframe, about how much it privileges the artistic representations and contributions to the game. And it's been massive with the artists and the Captura artists, and now and it's always been inclusive of music as well. But this particular opportunity, it's just been so exciting to contribute in that way.
So yeah,
there's
to
so much
answer your
talent in the
question,
community. That's awesome.
There
no,
really is.
They didn't fight me at all on it. They listened to the original, and that evening, my bass player and my guitarist had put together the first instrumental.
Yes. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, they were so
That's
pumped.
got to be such a great feeling. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like I
is so
started the
cool.
video, and I was like, guys, I need video of you. So both of them were like, okay. And then the
Instantly.
next day they're sending me
Video.
videos of, and we all look stupid, singing to a track and playing to a track, and their heart is in it.
Yes.
And so it was an incredible experience. I'm really excited if I'm being honest with you, I'm really excited to show you.
Yes.
Unreal. Yeah, I'm pumped to see it, and I think that that kind of emotion comes through so much too. Like you can't fake that kind of feeling. If your heart's not in it, it doesn't come through. Camera doesn't lie. So
Yeah.
It's true.
the fact that your band is so into it, I'm sure just on the exact same level, if not more, that
can see.
it's gonna be an amazing video.
Thank you. But this next half hour is about you, Marcus.
It is, but we just had
Ah.
another Warframe creator. Amazing,
Whoa.
Disfusional!
Yes.
Hey, Disfusional.
Thank you for the raid, Dis. Appreciate you.
How are you, beautiful?
You're amazing.
My
Speaking,
goodness, you guys have just shown us incredible love today.
Yeah,
My
I
God, I just
appreciate
feel
that.
like beside myself.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the fellow creator support.
Anybody coming in, this is DE Marcus. You may recognize him from the Digital Extremes / Warframe streams. He's also the background guy. If I know there's a lot of content creators in here, Marcus from our DMs.
Yeah.
Yep, we probably chatted on Discord.
Yeah.
If not today, probably yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get back into it.
Yeah, so we have another half hour. So if you guys do have any questions for Marcus, now is your moment to make sure you get them in. This is the last call for questions. We did have one come in that was, are you standing at your desk right now?
Yeah, I saw that from Chilling with
cool.
Prof. I meant to jump in on that. Yeah, I do. I actually have a standing desk, so here I'll just manipulate it slightly. So it's nice. Here, I'm gonna pull out the chair so it doesn't make a huge bonking noise. So it's great when you get a standing desk. You really have to train your legs up to sitting up and down, so it does drop down lower.
Oh, so you can sit if you need to.
What my brother has.
Yeah, the moving ones.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Marcus, no! Marcus!
Ah!
What have we done?
Oh no, the sound is gone.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
No. He's like, what have I done?
Marcus!
Marcus, hello. Hello, are you there?
He said your
Marcus?
name. Yes, Prof. He also broke it.
No. You're not coming through the Discord anymore. I don't know if you can hear me, but there's no sound. No sound. But
Was that a hanging stereo cable? Look under your mic if you
face
can hear
looks
me.
great.
Can you hear me? Should I
Someone-
just be doing his voice for him?
Yeah, you could do Marcus
No,
impression.
I know it's somewhere here.
It's good.
If I just...
Hello?
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
See? Dangling stereo cable. I saw it. That's the musician's eye.
The usage.
Which
yeah.
patch cord is unplugged here?
Yes. Oh, that
Right,
was
so-
amazing.
So there's my standing desk. I don't know why I was like, oh, you guys want to see it goes up and down? Oh,
No, that's awesome. I love that. That was great.
check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's my standing desk. But yes, I am standing, and lovely Danielle actually gave me her standing mat.
Aww.
So this is courtesy of Danielle. She used this at the office, and then I don't think she has a standing desk at home, so she was like, you can just use that.
That's awesome.
Jesus, sweetheart, too.
Yeah, but yeah, it's nice. It's
Cam
good.
has all
Like
this.
Yeah.
I should say when it helps with for day one access. It's kind of like you want to be like at the ready for when the update drops. You want to get things out as fast as possible. So being able to do day one access distribution standing up
Standing up.
is a way different feeling because you kind of feel a bit more like
Yeah.
ready
Where
for
do
it.
you go? Yeah.
Whereas like sitting down, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
good. It's good standing because I can kind of move around a bit
Bounce
more.
around, get out the nervous
helps me out some.
energy. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
So
feel like that'll be an investment for me soon.
One day
I
you
think
need
it
a
would,
standing desk.
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
a standing
you do,
desk.
you do.
I was that
It's
kid
good,
who couldn't sit down in class.
No.
And out of all my years of going to school, there was only one teacher who would let me wander.
You need
And
it.
I
Wow.
didn't like fuck off or
didn't
anything.
go too
I
far,
would
no.
just
Totally.
pace.
Yeah.
And I listened, and I got marked better in that class
Than any other.
than any other class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, what a great educator.
Do
yeah.
yeah. People who make accommodations. Do
Mhm,
you stream standing up too?
Oh, totally.
You do.
Oh yeah, I
eh?
can't sit down while I stream. Yeah.
Do you game standing?
Yeah. So I
Damn.
will game. I will stream standing, but if I'm gaming like after work hours, I'll probably be sitting down. But if I come back to do something on my work computer, I will be standing. So if I'm playing Warframe, I'll be standing as well. You do just sort of get used to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you definitely have to work up to it. Like I think I had to work up to it. I think over like 6 or 7 months
Yeah.
that it took me before, because I would usually do like 45 minutes and then sit down for 10 and then get back up. And sometimes you sit down and your legs are like, when you go to a concert and you sort of like crouch or move your legs at all, and you're like, oh,
Like,
You're like
Sweet goodness,
lean
that feels
heavily
nice.
on one hip, or
yeah.
I
If
feel
there's
that.
if it's a song you don't like as much, your body's kind of like, oh wait, we're really tired.
Yeah. My lower
Um,
back feels like it's going to break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So no, it's been nice to
Awesome.
stand, and yeah, you just feel a bit more engaged in that sort of way. But
Yeah.
not for everyone, but I quite like it.
It's true. I have heard that it can improve in attention. Like if you are standing and your focus can be more directed.
Well, and it's
Weird.
Yeah, 'cause
It's your
I'm-
body
better
position.
blood flow.
True. That's probably it.
Yeah, because I'm absolutely like you, Doc. Like I didn't wander as much as a kid, but I would really get distracted. It was really hard for me to focus.
Yeah.
So having something like, I'm sure you can see, I'm kind of like, I'll do sort of this back and forth, or like my hands are always kind of going as well.
Right.
Probably because I didn't run this morning or anything, so I
Mhm.
have a lot more energy.
Mhm.
So it's a good way for me to sort of still kind of sit still, but I'm kind of moving, or moving my body a little bit. So it just really helps me focus. Like I have a tough time cleaning my room unless I'm talking to somebody,
Yeah.
because my brain just can't focus on something,
Okay.
like doing the dishes or
Mhm.
cleaning my room, unless that other part of my brain is occupied.
Yes.
So I totally get that. Like, and I'm sure, Doc, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you listening to music as well probably helps you focus a lot more,
Oh,
or just
very
having
much, yeah.
something to occupy that part of your brain.
Often what'll happen, like we'll sit down we would sit down for meetings, like we have to talk about the business, and I'll have to
Mhm.
be doing something mindless. Like I can't play like an intense video game, but I can sit there and play a mobile game,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I'm able to participate in
Yeah.
the conversation much more effectively than me sitting there and being like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The one thing that I realized happened with the movements is after I had my daughter, what you do is when you coddle and you cradle and you do this
The rock.
rock back and
Yeah.
forth, and I never stopped doing it. Like
Yeah.
it was as therapeutic for me as it was for her. So I'll be like, if I'm waiting in the kitchen for the coffee to brew or whatever, I start doing this like
Yeah.
rock back and forth. I do it with my like I'll
You do
pick
it
on
with
my
the cats.
cat,
You hold them like
and it
babies.
just is
Yeah.
an
Oh, yeah.
automatic response, and I just
Yeah,
it's
I'm
something
right there
else.
with you with holding your cats like babies.
Yeah.
100%.
Right? Do you have kitties?
Yeah, I got 2 cats. I'm sure one might actually come if I call them. But yeah, I got 2 cats. I have one named Wilson and one named Jackie. And we were only supposed to get 1 cat, but then when we
Can't.
went to the adoption center, they were the last 2 of their litter.
Did
And
you
so
name
we were
them?
all prepped to get 1 cat, and they knew exactly where to push, and they were like, oh, it's tough separating a sister and a brother. So it was like within a minute, like they handed me Wilson, and they handed my partner Jackie, and they immediately kind of snuggled in. We were like,
You're
oh
like,
yeah, let's get both.
we belong. We're a family.
Yeah, let's just run home. Yeah.
Did
So
you-
yeah, no, they're little goofballs, but they're fun.
Aw.
Did you name them?
Yeah. So our whole plan was that my girlfriend Julia, we love this song called Jackie and Wilson by Hosier. Or Hosier.
Yeah.
I can't remember which way you
Take Me to
pronounce it.
Church?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, and so he has a song called Jackie and Wilson, and she had the great idea. She was like, "Oh, wouldn't that be so cute if we had 2 cats, a boy and a girl, they'd be called Jackie and Wilson.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, that would be cute. And then we were like, oh no, but let's just get 1 cat. And then when we were there, it was like,
Yeah.
we have 2 cats, there's a boy and a girl, and we were
Mhm.
like, Jackie and Wilson.
Yeah. They
So
just fit. That's what happened with our boys. We got twin boys too, who were in the same litter.
Yeah.
And Dockless looked at them. He's like, "You're Frank. You're Ollie. It's obvious." And and they matched the names.
They do,
and
yeah.
so it shall be.
It's so it
That's
shall
perfect.
be, and they were.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get one. I'm gonna mute myself quickly.
Oh, Kitty!
But,
Yeah.
but I'll stay
I'll do
listening.
the same.
Kitty Love. Oh, we gonna have Kitty Love. His face is like underneath the Canadian
Yeah.
flag. Frank, what are you doing? What a weird cat. Like, what's he even looking at? I don't know.
Why you be that way?
I don't have my cat. My cat bed is empty. Mine was
Why
like
you do this?
elsewhere today. It's kitty chat time.
Come here, buddy.
That's
Wilson,
the
come here,
shoe
pal.
puker, Francis.
Yeah, that's the shoe puker.
Oh, hey, Francis.
Oh, don't read my cheat sheet.
Here's Wilson.
Oh, they're beautiful.
He might sit on my shoulder, but I think he knows that I'm talking a little too much. So.
Wilson.
There he is.
Come
You want to say
back.
hi, buddy?
Oh,
wanna say
they're
hi?
beautiful cats.
I think he thinks that I have treats somehow.
It's like if there's
Should
no
we
food
want-
involved, I don't know.
One last little hello. This is
Oh,
where he knows
hi.
to come up here because that's where my food always is. So you're a good boy. You'll get some treats after, okay?
Oh my
You'll
goodness.
get some treats
Yeah,
after.
Marcus and I are
Yeah.
showing each other our
Mm,
cats.
cats, yeah. It's
There you
true.
go, there you
You gotta bond over the kitties. It's just
go. Mhm.
it's impossible not to. The love
Yeah,
of a
that
cat.
is, you guys have one pretty kitty. What a
We do.
cutie.
We do. Oh yeah.
The other one looks pretty stunned. You're not missing much.
He's mine. we travel together in a pack of stunnedness.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny. Do you find your cats match your personalities? Like, did they pick their person and then kind of like, I don't know, integrate with that person in a particular way?
That's a good question. I would say that, like, yeah, Wilson's a bit more chaotic than his sister.
Mm-hmm.
He'll steal food. He'll eat pretty much anything.
Yeah.
He'll eat Nerf darts and just like lots of like stuff that you shouldn't even want to eat.
Yeah.
And he'll just consume it anyway. So we really have to. Our whole house is kitten proof or is cat proof. There's only 2 cupboards that he can't get into. So outside of the fridge and those 2 cupboards, that's the only place we can put any sort of bread product. Tortillas, bread, buns, all that. If we leave it somewhere, he'll get to, like, even we have cupboards on top of the fridge. He'll jump on top of the fridge and then use his little paws to get it open and then take it down to the basement and eat it. So he is a little too troublesome that I don't think he's quite like me, because I still, I like to deviate every once in a while, but I would say I play by the rules pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
But he is just an agent of chaos. And Jackie, I would say, is more like kind of what you would assume is a traditional cat, like kind of more timid, like she gets spooked sometimes.
Yeah.
So I would say they're not as oh, there, he's sitting in his bucket now. He actually,
Oh my God.
for the first time ever, he sat for the entire stream on
Really?
Tuesday, and I couldn't believe it. He sat in his bucket the whole time.
Oh my
It was amazing.
goodness.
Oh, well, now he's having
like,
a bath, so
excuse me. I'm
Like,
gonna
look what I can
hold
do.
myself-
yeah, he's like, check this out. And I'm like, no, not good, not
You
good.
boys
Not for
jelly?
the internet, buddy.
Quick, TOS!
So there was a question that came in. Now we're really gonna push you. What's
Oh.
your favorite curse word?
Ooh, favorite curse word.
Mhm.
That is a really good question, because I love cursing.
Do you?
Do you?
really
Okay.
like-
I
oh,
never
yeah.
would have guessed.
No,
I never. No.
Yeah.
no. You,
Oh, I really like
you,
cursing.
You handle it well, in terms of not doing it. I don't, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this
He's
guy
managing
is impressive.
beautifully.
He can like it just comes out of my mouth, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Ah, god damn it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know. It's so easy for it to slip out. And I think I had one experience growing up where my brother accidentally swore in front of my grandparents. My grandparents are like the sweetest human beings,
Yeah.
and we're kind of like, they're like a little shaken up that they heard him swear like that. And I know that they knew that we swore, but it was like tough to see that. And then my dad was like, kind of gave my brother like the just wait till we get in the car kind of look.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was usually like a pattern of growing up of my brother sort of like making mistakes, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna not do that. So
Yeah.
I think there's been enough experiences in my life, like either like being in productions and stuff like that, or just kind of like speaking to like friends' parents or or grandparents and stuff like that, and just sort of flipping into a mode where I don't swear as easily, and it's helped me a lot for streams because
Yeah,
I
you
think
need that
so
mode.
far
Yeah.
I
Knock on
haven't
that wood.
cursed accidentally
Yeah.
on stream, but my favorite curse word, I want to say it's the F word.
You can say it here.
Yeah, we sadly are
I
not.
want to keep my streak alive.
He's got a
You know what?
street
Yeah.
cred to uphold.
Don't let me pressure you.
Yeah,
don't let us bring you down with our corruption.
And the thing is, I don't want to be that guy because I had friends growing up. Like I had one friend growing up who would never say the F word.
Yeah.
And we're like, man, come on.
Yeah.
Come
Just do it. Just do
Like,
it.
just say it. And then eventually he did, and he was like, I don't know why I ever didn't say it. That was so silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the F word, because it can be used so many different ways. I remember one of the first lectures I had in university was actually a clip of The Wire. And it's the two detectives and they're saying shit over and over and there. I'll say shit. F is like a different. It's in the category list. It's a bit harsher.
It's like it's a level up.
But it's a whole scene, and it's like 1 minute and 40 seconds of The Wire, and it's like the second or third episode, and it's just them saying shit over and over and over with different inflections, and they're able to get exactly what they want to communicate to each other over and over and
That's
over.
awesome.
And I
That's
think
so
for the F
cool.
word as well, you can draw it out, you can shorten
Can.
it up, you can just be like, you know.
Yes, it's so versatile. He didn't finish
Yeah,
No,
the
I was
Lono
waiting
Taco
for the
is so versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Just
yeah,
as
that's
a
probably my
side note,
favorite.
you pointed out Taco there. There's your doppelganger if you ever had one.
I was thinking that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Taco. It
You guys look so similar.
so
It's-
similar. Yeah. You do have.
We're gonna
one.
have to get a picture of Tennocon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna need pictures. Taco, send me a picture.
Taco's like, I don't see it.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
bet-
thought I was
I bet
good
we do.
looking.
No. Super good
Ouch,
looking.
Doc.
Now it's doubly good looking.
Yeah.
I see that Harry Potter collection behind you.
Mhm.
Tell us about. Are you a big reader?
I am a big reader. Yeah, I quite like books. I probably read the most. Like that was probably what I did the most. I don't know. I read the most. Reading was probably my most popular activity when I was growing up. I read a ton. I got my hands on everything. And Harry Potter was my favorite franchise growing up. Although I will say I don't think I understood most of it as I was reading it. I was like just like slightly too young to fully get a grasp on it. But then like I waited a few years and then got back into it. So yeah, so I love reading, and it's been a challenge to. I am like just now 2 years out of university college, trying to get back into reading for fun because like higher education just beats you to no extent with just readings. Like you just read and read and read and read and read.
It ruins
And it was so hard to actually just read for fun.
Yeah.
So now I'm just kind of trying to get back into the flow of reading for a good time. And so kind of like video games, I was trying to read classics. So last summer I actually tried to read the Odyssey.
Oh my God.
And
trip.
don't read it.
Don't try.
For a guy who just said
don't
like,
read it.
I'm gonna give reading another go.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
I'm
not
gonna
the
really
direction.
see if I enjoy this, and I'm gonna read
It
this.
was a bad plan. It was a bad plan. So I
Yeah.
followed it up with a beach read after, which was really
Good.
great.
Good.
Jeez.
But my God, yeah. If you're like, oh, I got to read the classics, like like down the road, warm yourself up to reading the Odyssey. But it was just one of those like, oh, I've heard it so much. It's like such an influence on culture that oh yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. And it was just like it took me 4 months to read it. I was like, I could have read so many other books in between that time. So I'm trying to get back into the flow of things. So yeah, I'm currently reading the second Dune book.
Nice.
In
Good
preparation for that
series.
movie to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
the first
exciting.
Dune book I read over a summer, and that was phenomenal. I worked at like in terms of like books for escapism, I worked at my uncle's rubber plant for a summer. So like on my 15-30 minute breaks, I'd read Dune, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, love reading, always have. And yeah, if you guys have any good book recommendations, send them my way. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I don't have the attention span to get past a few pages, but Lala
I do have a very
is
large,
a very
very avid reader.
Yeah.
What kind of books do you
Nice.
like reading the most? Like
Oh,
what
that's a good question.
genre?
I would probably say I read. Trying to think of the books I've enjoyed the most. That's really tough. I honestly don't think I've read frequently enough recently to have honed in on a genre, but the ones that I've liked the most recently, I want to say have been sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah.
Drew lent me a book that was really good. It was Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind, and that was a really fun read.
Mm,
That was a really good beach read. But I also read, and like I said, I was raised on rom-coms. I read The Time Traveler's Wife last fall. And it was funny because I grew up with that and my mom reading it, and I was like, that's a mom book, you know?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
then I grew up and I'm like, oh my God, this book is so good. And
Yeah.
Wheel of Time is going to be on there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But the last book I just devoured was actually the King Killer Chronicle. They're right next to Harry Potter here. I'm not sure. I think you can just
Ooh.
see
Yeah, the one.
Name of the Wind there. But
Mhm.
those two, like I just crushed
So
those two
good.
books. They're just phenomenal books. One other fun fact, because I'm going to try to inject as many fun facts as I can here
Yes.
into the stream, is I was able to take. I went to University of Western Ontario, and I don't know if they still have this class, but for a brief period of time, they had the Game of Thrones course. And I don't know if you can see, I also have a little Game of Thrones area
Mhm.
on this bookshelf.
Yep.
But I was able to take that class in school, and that was a really fun time.
That's
Oh.
It was a
amazing.
really fun
I'm
time.
jealous
It was like
that
the
you had
best
that
required
class.
reading that I had to read.
Ever.
The first 3 books for that class. It was phenomenal.
Oh, I'm jealous. That
Yeah.
would be cool to take a class that was
Yeah.
focused on that.
Yeah.
That'd be
It
amazing.
was so cool. It was a great time.
I
And it did really
have
well.
I have such sad news that we're reaching the end of our interview. This has been
Oh,
a beautiful conversation.
But I do have a terrific
Yeah.
question.
Oh yeah,
The cherry on top.
the
if you
cherry on
will.
top. Yeah.
let's hear it.
Marcus,
Mhm.
will you marry me?
I mean,
He's a taken man.
Doc, I wasn't expecting it, but I mean, this is so much to think about, and
He's so flustered.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can give you the life that I know you need.
He knows that you're a diva. He knows it.
Yeah. All right. The real
That
question.
was an amazing answer. Good job.
What is your favorite bridge?
My favorite bridge. So I had to look this up yesterday because I know the bridge, and it's funny because speaking to my girlfriend yesterday, I was like, I described the bridge to her. I'm like, you know the bridge when you're, and she's like, oh yeah, of course I know that bridge. But then I had no idea what it's called. So the bridge is the Nipigon River Bridge. The Nipigon River Bridge.
Ooh.
It is, yeah, it's east. I'm almost certain it's east. Yeah. It's just outside of Nipigon, Ontario.
Yeah.
East of Thunder Bay, I'm pretty sure. It's either east or west of Thunder Bay. It's on the Trans-Canada Highway.
Mhm.
And so driving up to northwestern Ontario, we would sometimes fly. You fly into Winnipeg and then drive in back into Ontario. But sometimes we do the drive. And so for those of you who don't know Canadian geography as well, Ontario is massive. The drive from Niagara to northwestern Ontario to like the just the edge of it is a 22-hour drive. It's the same distance from Niagara to Florida.
Yeah.
And we would drive that almost every summer.
Damn.
And so, yeah. And we just did that drive last October and visited my grandparents.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was amazing. And so you're kind of in like backwoods. Canada for like hours and hours and hours. You haven't been in civilization for such a long time, and because you're approaching Thunder Bay, you're starting to kind of get back into civilization a bit more. But you've probably been driving through like 5 or 6 hours of just very small towns, lots of wooded areas, just along the north end of Lake Superior. And suddenly you come around this bend, and there's this massive bridge that it just kind of everything sort of opens up, and it's just a really impressive looking bridge. I don't know the exact way how you'd phrase it, but it's a top suspension bridge, so it has cables, kind of like the Golden Gate Bridge, how it has those cables that run down. And so the way the video I was watching yesterday, the engineer describes it, is it isn't pushed up, it's actually pulled up by the cables. So like the bridge is being held up by the cables attached to this main thing. So it's like you kind of are in like just like the woods, and then it's like civilization, and it's always such a shock to the senses, and it's kind of like whoa, and it has a beautiful view when you cross that bridge, but it's always kind of a nice, like there's only a few more hours left in the drive after hitting that bridge. So it's just kind of it's just like being dunked in like a tank of cold water in terms of what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of a marvel. So that one is always one of my favorite parts of that drive.
Beautiful.
But it's a really cool bridge. Yeah.
So we would have going up there. We would have seen we would have seen signs for it.
I wonder. Well, we
That's
don't
why-
go past Wawa. So I grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, which you'll know is like
Nice.
halfway point along that
Yep.
that Trans Canada.
Yep.
And so we spend a lot of time driving in Northern Ontario, but I don't think we've been quite as far as
No,
Yeah.
not been there.
Yeah.
No,
Signs.
we've
Yeah.
seen signs for it.
Yeah.
Wawa
we've
Motor
seen
Inn.
signs for
It's
it.
a great place.
Wawa Motor Inn, baby.
Got the
the
big
Canada
goose.
Okay.
Yeah. Know it well. Know it well. Been there
Damn.
many a times.
They're really
Yeah.
Sault
Canadian.
Ste. Marie,
It's true.
Wawa.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. Water Tower Inn, Sault Ste. Marie as well. Fantastic spot.
It is.
Love
It's
staying
got
there.
good food there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It does.
Casey's.
Enough
No,
of that.
enough of Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I could go on and on about the
I
drive.
love Northern
Drive through Northern
Ontario.
Ontario. And Wawa is beautiful. There's actually, I just heard recently from one of my buddies I played disc golf with. They just put in a really great disc golf course
No way.
in Wawa,
You'll have to stop
which is
and
about
play.
as niche as you can get in terms of like
I know.
I'm going to Wawa for
It's
a disc golf.
Population of
You know.
400. It's a pretty It's not
Yeah,
big.
yeah. It's got a Sweet Tim's and a couple general stores and
Yeah.
a couple Chinese food restaurants. And you know what more do you need?
Sounds so great. They named it twice.
Right.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Marcus, this has been such a wonderful treat. Thank you so much for your time and
Yeah.
your openness and your tangents.
Yeah, this was a
also
blast,
awesome.
man. This honestly,
Yeah.
we never know.
Anytime you guys need tangents.
Yeah,
You're
Exactly.
the man. You're
like,
coming to you.
you talk in DMs, you don't know how you're gonna actually back and forth with somebody.
Yeah.
So I guess I gotta let you know you have my approval now
Yeah.
for whatever
Doc.
that's worth.
I would hope so after you've asked to marry me. I would hope
That-
that I
Yeah.
have your
Yeah.
the
that
approvals there.
was-
Both things were gonna come out. I just said one before the other. It was my bad. Don't hold me
Yeah.
on that.
You got the schedule. Sometimes it comes out in a different order than you intended, but
Yeah.
no, in all seriousness, no, I totally appreciate that. And yeah, and I completely agree. You know, I have a good sense for how you two operate, having dropped by the stream so many times. So I know you guys are a polished production and a great group of people. So
Thank you.
so it's been
amazing.
nice to engage in a conversation with
Yeah.
you guys. And this has been a ton of fun. What a great way to spend a bit of my Friday afternoon. So this was really great. And Chad, thanks for being so encouraging and
Yeah.
listening into my stories and stuff. And I'll give Elliot my moose a couple extra blueberries
Please do. Yeah.
Um,
On our
just
behalf.
to
really.
celebrate the occasion.
When can we see you on the Warframe stream again?
Good question. Probably. I don't know. I actually don't know.
All right.
Sometime
well,
soon.
a lot of
I
things
bet
coming
you.
up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up, and we'll usually slow down on stream sometime close to Tennocon. I think
Yeah.
we're still a bit out from that,
Mhm.
but I would say soon,
Soon.
sometime
Dude,
soon.
good. He's
Coming-
like anytime after now.
Yeah.
I could be on.
Yeah, anytime now, at some point in the future.
You guys, you can catch Marcus on his Twitter. I popped the link in chat and on a Warframe stream near you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
At some point.
And guys, stick around. We
point.
are going to be playing the cover of Sleeping in the Cold Below before we take off today. Marcus, thank you so much, my man. We will talk to you soon.
Bye, Marcus.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Later,
you
later,
so
brother.
Thanks for having me.
much. Bye.
See you guys. This was a blast.